Hey, it's the Bennington Show on day one of the new Trump campaign. SiriusXM Run. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
I am Ron Bennington. The guy taking over, running the Trump campaign, does a show right here at SiriusXM. So we jam band, I think, running the board for it. This is how weird our life is.
He's on the campaign now. And he does great research, so Trump's gonna benefit.
I think you're gonna hear Trump talking about Memphis, not only in the 1960s, but the stack scene of the late 1960s, early 70s. Wouldn't it be great if you just saw references like that? Bill Graham had more to do with this country than anyone ever realized. Think of the concerts that he put on in the park. Hey, it's August 17th. It's almost the end of summer. And I think if you're like a kid down south, you're starting school.
They start so early down there.
That's why they're smarter. That's why they've got all the answers.
They get the jump on us.
Hey, how come we never use this stuff here? On the right-hand side of that, looks like that
I've never seen that before.
It looks like E-Rock is able to be in contact with the producers of the Opie and Jim show.
I've been trying to get that to get larger font.
The font's too small for you?
I have trouble reading it.
You need glasses then.
Yeah.
Because that font is...
Wait, this is like an instant message program?
Yeah.
This is literally something I've been talking about.
Yeah, it looks like... E-Rock is in contact with the studio in here.
We need that. Where does he get all these wonderful toys?
Batman?
No, E-Rock. He has everything good.
If I were a kid, I wouldn't be able to deal with going to school in the middle of August.
Too hot?
It's too hot, and it's the middle of August. The middle of August is time to be home. As a child.
No,
even as an adult, really.
Just as dumb as you sound right now, I feel Labor Day is the cutoff fucking date. And anything before Labor Day is death.
The only pro is that then you get to enjoy Labor Day as though your education is a labor. So you get a Labor Day weekend.
But you still would have the Labor Day weekend. You would be off all summer.
But it feels like a little treat.
This forces like family vacations to stop, in July, and forces everybody into a crazy July vacation where you really want an August vacation.
This is tearing families apart, is what this is doing.
Not only is it tearing families apart, I think it's the fucking reason we need a wall. I also have a great idea for the wall now that's going to be built now that SiriusXM is running the Trump campaign.
Thank God.
I think we could have some windows in the wall.
Okay.
Where we could buy tacos and sell hot dogs on either side. Like they'll have their window where we could go up, buy tacos. We'll have our window. And some of the windows, I'm sure either meth or coke can be sold through.
I think that's a friendlier wall. A more neighborly wall.
Mm-hmm. A wall of friendship.
I mean, nobody said that the wall can't be just made entirely of glass.
That's fucking plexiglass.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, bulletproof plexiglass.
Oh, yeah.
So we can see what the fuck they're doing over there,
yeah,
too.
we want to be blind.
Yeah. I don't want to see that they're just fucking mounting an army. And then I'll just open the window. Can I help you? No, I can't sneak you through the window.
I'd like to be the person who has the job of that gatekeeper of Oz. Just like the little round peephole.
What was his
now you can't come to the U.S.
Yeah, what was his
why didn't you say that you're not illegal immigrants? Come right in.
I love that dude, and he should have had more screen time, because that fucking mustache that fell down.
Oh, yeah. He had a very expressive mustache.
Yes, we'd like to come to the U.S., please.
No, absolutely not. Oh. You can't come in here. This is the wall.
Oh, Jesus. But the wizard said. Well, that was the thing that turned his head around. As soon as he heard the word wizard.
Why didn't you say that? Come right in.
Fucking changed everything.
You guys have papers?
Yeah, they didn't have to fucking show shit. Well, the wizard wanted me. What? That dude was fucking amazing. And yes, I know it's the Wizard. I get it. I know. Don't fucking try to write to me that guy played 8 parts. I've fucking seen the movie a million times.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. The same actor was also the Carney. She never even fucking said like, oh, dude, I remember fucking meeting you.
You're
a couple times.
Pretty familiar to me.
No one wants to bring up how fucking stupid Dorothy was. The worst. But she was.
And you were there, and you were there, and you were there too.
But you were a Tin Man and a lion.
It was pretty trippy. I mean, really fucking weird.
You know what the weird thing about her, too, is like, she didn't seem to have a single friend on the other side. Like, there was no girlfriend to say, hold my dog.
Just some farmhands, I guess.
Ugh, those fucking creeps were just all over her, too. Like when she fell in the fucking hog pit. And they were just fucking,
like dive in.
Yeah, fucking turn into a mosh, just grabbing her tits.
I saved you, Dorothy. No, I did.
You guys are 40, and I'm supposed to be 13 or
but
something.
Dorothy, don't you think I'm the strong one?
Grab my dick. They were fucking nuts, man. I mean, you can't blame them. They were just, there was no sex. They're out in the middle of fucking cow shit, Kansas.
You creep me out the most, farmhand.
They were fucking one beer away from a gangbang on poor Dorothy. That whole fucking town was shitty. You know, I mean, everywhere she lived.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, there's no one around and she runs into one fucking person who wants to kill her dog. I mean, can you imagine when you're a little kid, the fear that goes through you that an old lady wants to have would kill your dog and your fucking family goes along with it?
She bit her dog. Most underrated line. It's very funny.
I know. It's very funny.
It's a very funny line.
Yeah. And it proves to me when I was a kid that adults are stupid as shit. She bit her dog. And then fucking Em acted like she was on her side, but she didn't do anything.
No. She was like just crying and handing the dog over. We have to.
Hey, Frank, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, Ron, I think that wall should have windows like the ones they had in Laughing.
You know, the Laugh-In windows, where it was a chance to do street jokes, but that fucking song was like the wackiest thing. Like you would have a Crazy Mod song playing, and then somebody would open up a window and do a wall joke.
Which is interesting because that's still very much Mexican humor, so they'll get it. I mean, this is... Like, all their shows are kind of like laughing.
All right, let's play it a little bit, Chris. How many Mexicans does it take? Their fucking humor was so shitty. And Dixie Riddle.
Then just close up on, like, twiggy eyeliner and crazy dances. Just doing the monkey for no reason after a joke.
I guess it was supposed to be that the entire country was high. That's what it's supposed to be. But they, like, the guys that hosted the show were more like old-timey martini. Like Rowan and Martin were not edgy, right? They were like... in their 40s at the time.
Yeah.
So they were just really doing this bad Martin and Lewis, like an unfunny Martin and Lewis.
And it was kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff, too, right? Like, they would say, like something kind of, like, racy, but not...
Yeah, that was still back in, like, you would do kind of a wee joke and go, well, the band gets it. Like, only jazz musicians. I mean, fucking Carson was still doing that in the early 90s, you know? Like, look at the band floating over there and whatever they got going, some kind of wacky tobacco. Everybody be like, the band gets high. Dorothy. I'm turning into a witch. I kind of felt like there was more of a connection between Auntie M and the witch. That's why when she was in that fucking magic ball, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
She turned into him. It was like a yin, a yang, heaven, hell, God, the devil.
That was the scariest moment to me, though, as a child. When Annie M's face goes blurry and then the witch's face comes out.
But this is why. The witch is just taunting. You know what I mean? I fucking... he wasn't even like, I'm going to get it.
This is what your auntie sounds like.
This is what people do. Hey, they're so pussy. You're just like, what the fuck? And you'll break that fucker. I wanted her just to smash it on the ground. Felt like that could have done it.
But, you know, that moment when I was a child, to me, was like this sharp, like, cut to her face, like it was very scary. But if you watch it, it's just like she so slowly fades in. Like it's clearly her, but for some reason, it's totally shocking as a child.
Well, you've never seen a fade when you're a kid.
Right.
Like it's all new to you. But to me, the flying monkeys were the fucking scariest. The scenes that got me, one just like takes 2 short hops and grabs fucking Toto and takes off. Yeah. But those weird little hops just set, that when Dorothy's legs are kicking, and then when they're all on the ground, if you watch it in the background, one of the flying monkeys mounts another flying monkey.
Oh, shit.
And just starts,
I've never seen that.
Just starts going at it. And to me, they were both, and I don't know if I could even prove this, they were both male monkeys. So as a little kid, I was not ready for that. But why would they put
the sexual deviance of these homosexual monkeys?
Dorothy!
And she's just mad. My monkeys are fucking!
It's true.
Watch them if they fuck!
See, that's the part that got to me. I'm like, why? Why would they put that in a children's movie? But, and then those, the other scene that fucking scared me in that line was, you killed her. Like the fucking weirdness of that. Like that this thing that you think is going to be, they're going to be so pissed off, but it's almost this side of release. And you're like, you got a fucking whole army of you OEO guys.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do some shit? I don't want to hear spells. That's what fucking Nazi sympathizers. Oh, we were under Hitler's spell.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'd start killing those OEO guys the day after. They would just be fucking hanging from trees. Right?
You're going to send a message.
Yeah.
We don't want this to happen again.
And I'd be going door to door looking for fucking fuck monkeys the way that the Brazilian police are looking for Ryan Lochte today. Did you see they're going after those swimmers who said they got busted?
Yeah, they want his passport.
I heard that they got Lochte out of the country, but there's another guy who's still there.
So what? So they did catch the guy, or they didn't?
No. There is no guys, according to the Brazilian police. These
they
are
made
just.
It up?
Do you think they made it up, or you think the Brazilian police are fucking now saying we're going to go arrest the victims for reporting it? I mean, to me, Obama should start attacking now. There should be just fucking planes coming over, dropping everything on the Amazon, napalm the Amazon so nobody can breathe down there.
Drone attack.
Let's get rid of that oxygen fucking maker.
Maybe send some flying fucking monkeys. I don't know. What do you got?
Honey, that's fiction. I don't know how to tell you this, but we don't have that.
Wasn't a documentary?
No, rockumentary is the word you're looking for. But so here's what they said. Lochte and the other boys were lying to make Brazil look bad, because why do they still have their watches? They're furious that their watches weren't taken, so they think that it's made up. And they're going door to door right now till they find them. They want their passports. And I heard Lochte got out on the Underground Railroad. They just sent him up the Amazon in this fucking tug. But that's a weird story, right?
That's very, very strange.
Yeah.
So they're getting them out of the country, or?
No, that's what I would be doing. I don't fucking sit around and talk to Brazilian police. That's my fucking thing. Fight, play. That's your only two options. Negotiate doesn't play with it. So either A, these guys arm themselves in the Olympic Village and just fucking Waco it as long as they possibly can, or they're in a fucking just like a rice bucket just in the back of some truck heading up an Amazon dirt road.
They gotta flee. They gotta get the fuck out of there.
No, you got to go, man. You can't fucking. As soon as someone says, I want your passport, you're fucking gone, man. You don't wait around to go, well, here's what happened. Mm-mm. But that whole story was weird because apparently it wasn't reported to the police, right? The person who broke the story was Billy Bush, which, according to the Post, has everybody else at the Today Show furious because they're the mean girls, according to the Post, and they don't like the new boy, and he's too fratty for them, and he doesn't quite. They said that he doesn't quietly eat top as he yells and points at people and shit. So, but the weird thing was, so he just sees Lochte on the beach, says, "Does this happen?" He says, "Can I get a film crew?" Lochte's ready to talk. They didn't. So they just shot it on an iPhone. He has to shoot this on an iPhone. But if you watch it, it looks as good as anything NBC has done entirely. Like, everything that people own in technology is just as good as the phone you're carrying around.
Yeah, there's no point to invest in. Well, certainly cameras. Remember, like, when we first got cameras connected to phones, they just looked like
shit.
Yeah, it was like there was a weird haze over everything.
Yeah, pixelated.
Yeah, it was. But here's the other thing. You met Video Mitch that I know from Florida last night, right? So he used to come to the old Ron and Ron shows and bootleg shoot the shows, right? This fucking guy used to walk around with a camera as big as a refrigerator on his shoulder. You know what I mean? It was just like, hey, this dude owns a video camera. And then he's able to take that and put it on VHS. And everybody was like, what the fuck? So is he a TV station? No. He's just a dude. Video Mitch. And he could get into like any concert or whatever because he would bring his camera.
But even before it was very popular or at least cheap enough to have a home camcorder, you remember like people would rent a video camera in order to, let's say, celebrate a birthday or a graduation. Like even if you weren't hiring a professional, someone would be like, I rented a video camera for this event.
Dude, yes, you would go to the place, you would rent a camera, it would cost a lot of money. And then what people used to do is they would say, look, a couple of us have gone in together and we're buying a video camera and we're going to video your wedding for you. It'll cost $800 or whatever. And then they would go out and video people at the golf range so that they could watch later, and they would charge like $25 or $50 for it. There used to be guys that came into the clubs that I had. We have a video camera for open mic night. Anybody who wants their set, we'll give them just their set. And like guys would go in their pocket and pay money to get 6 minutes of them on stage so they could look at it and judge themselves. People had no idea what they looked like.
But isn't it strange that technology did this very strange thing? Like cameras, home computers were massive, right? They were so huge. Cell phones, cellular phones were huge, like giant walkie-talkies.
Right.
Then they were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then sometime at the early aughts, we're like, well, that's too small. Let's go back a little bit bigger.
Right.
You remember there was a trend of technology where it's like your phone had to be super tiny.
Yeah.
Everything had to be
Zoolander did that joke.
Yeah.
That's back when Zoolander came out. They're like, isn't this funny? Because things are getting smaller. But it's sometimes from an engineering standpoint, it's the excitement of being able to make something like that thing that you thought was this big. Is this, but finally you're like, dude, we can't even fucking use it anymore. Like them wanting to do the Dick Tracy watch. You don't want to sit there and just try to fucking tap on your watch.
It's
you know,
too
you need
small.
something.
Did the iPhone, the Apple Watch, did that ever take off in any?
They say it's the sales are terrible. Like
They have to be. Do you know anybody with one?
The screen's so small.
it's useless.
I know one person with one.
Who? What fucking dope would have that?
Vito.
I have
has
the
one.
Apple Watch.
You know something, Vito? I want your check every week, and I'm going to put it away for you. Because I don't want you spending money on every urge you have.
It's so cool though. Like I don't have to reach into my pocket to get text. I can change my music from my wrist. I can even talk on it.
Let's say it now.
I left it at home today.
You left it every day.
Your wonderful technology that you can't live without. You don't even fucking have on you.
Well, that's too angry, Chris.
Yeah, why can't you just be his friend and talk to him? First of all, you're very lucky because last night Vito was sweatier than you.
I don't see how that's possible.
I know. I fucking made the mistake of touching him after the show. You could see your sweat blotches everywhere. But Vito had a dark shirt on, so it just looked like a dark shirt. But it was 6 inches of sweat in there.
He was drinking from this giant water jug, and I turned to him. I was like, why would you pour that all over yourself after the show? Why would you do that? And he was like, oh, I didn't. And I was like, oh, that's sweat.
Well, because
I thought you had poured water.
I just want you to know something. Gail and I were under the hot lights for an hour and 40 minutes. By the way, for Comedy 101, we ran over by 40 minutes.
Just 40.
Just 40. All 3 mentors under hot lights for an hour 40. You guys were soaked in the air-conditioned dark.
I was next to that hot staircase.
No. I'm telling you.
We were
baking
staircases
under
are
those.
hot.
And then I was getting hot, and I couldn't get myself water because Chris needed water every 10 minutes, and I felt weird going up to them and being like, "Hey, can I have another water for myself too?" I thought I was going to pass out, but
Water doesn't stop you from sweating.
I'm glad that you had a personal water boy. I was dying up there.
By the way, Anthony was on the stairs all night long.
Yeah.
I was totally fine.
He was fine.
He
That's no
was
problem.
Dry as a bone.
tiny
that
old
Anthony.
man.
I'm not even making it up.
He's tiny. I'm a large mass. I have a lot of body heat. I have a lot of body hair.
There. Oh.
Dude, we can't take you out in public.
His chest hair was glistening. It was like morning dew on his chest.
I am going to have to call this studio the command center and tell you guys that you need to be here. Just so people call you like every 30 minutes. Everything's going fine. Because I can't have you in front of the public like that.
It's embarrassing.
Look, the only thing I now know that in the heat, I need to just bring an extra shirt with me because that shirt I was wearing all day, and yeah, it was sweat. I sweat through it. It was embarrassing.
It was a shame because it was a nice shirt. He actually had a nice shirt on. And I said to him, oh, you wore a nice shirt for Comedy 101. No, it did not stay nice.
No.
I see him trying to give me hand signals, and then he stumbles to the stage and I have to lean off, and like he's telling me that we're running so far over, but all I could see is these sweat blotches. And like I went back on stage and I started to do it, and I'm like, I think everyone needs to see what since I can't unsee it, I want to change the reality. And people are just like they're clapping like, Chris! They're so happy. Then you just hear this, oh, God.
Oh,
And
that's the man?
so bad.
it looked like you were in 3rd grade and they had one of those drawn out maps of the planet Earth, just the sweat stains, like there was a South American sweat stain into a Central American sweat stain. I mean, we should have taken a fucking picture of it and sent it in to this fucking Snopes and say, do something about this, bitches, because I don't think you're going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, the sweat pattern itself was very odd. I don't know why certain parts of my body were just getting, like my fucking shoulders apparently carry all my fucking sweat.
Dark shirts, Chris. Dark shirts.
Can't live your life just wearing dark shirts, Vito.
Look at me every day.
I know it took the audience a long time before they could laugh again after saying that.
I hurt them.
I heard someone just whisper, the horror. The horror.
That was him, laying there with a bald head.
in the heat of the jungle.
Yeah, delivery boy. You know, last night was, it's too incredibly fun to do that show. Like, it's too enjoyable. But the mentors last night were unlike any 3 mentors that we've had. Metzger is on a different wavelength than other people. Like,
Yeah.
he says things that no one else would say.
He's so damn funny and so weirdly funny. Like,
Yeah, it's weirdly funny. Like, all of a sudden, he would, like, ring in and then start and talk about his own life. You're just like, I don't know why you're saying these things. Really fucking funny. Sal, hilarious.
Sal was that was my first time meeting Sal.
Me too.
And he is so damn funny.
Yeah, he's very funny and he connects to people like really easily. Like I was watching just the way he would connect to the audience and I'm like, okay, I get it. This is that thing that works on TV. You know what I mean? Like people watch their TV not only to laugh, but they want to feel like the person on TV is their friend.
Yeah.
You know? This is why Gilbert Gottfried can't get a regular TV gig going because he scares people.
Right.
He's hilarious, but they don't feel like, oh, I'm going to let Gilbert in my bedroom tonight. Where I think Sal has that thing that even if he wasn't being funny, you'd be like, oh, I really like that guy.
Yeah, he has the thing where immediately when he starts talking to you and joking with you, you're like, oh, are we best friends? Like,
yeah,
we're
you
best
feel
friends
that
now,
way.
right?
Yeah. And that's how Jay is with him. Big Jay was so funny, but so hysterical wearing the Philadelphia outfit.
Yeah.
With the black Phillies hat and then the black.
Yeah, jersey, like the black Eagles
jersey. The Deshaun Jackson jersey.
He dresses urban. He is an urban guy.
He's an urban gentleman.
He's so goddamn funny. So much is happening with him now, too. All these comics get so much going on. But we're supposed to play that Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to also play it before we play it, like, officially. Sneak peek when we do Upbeat Radio on Friday.
That would be great.
Sneak peek it. Just sneak and then take a peek.
Just sneak.
Little sneaky peeky.
Like Chris does with his neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Downstairs, 3B.
How do you look into your downstairs neighbors?
There's like a courtyard, and you can see like across the courtyard.
Oh, okay.
So I can see them, and I watch them sometimes.
You keep a journal where you're like, Frank jerked off for 13 minutes.
Long for a Tuesday.
He's only grossed out if Frank has a female partner. Like he'll just pull his own blinds. Fuck you, Frank.
He jumped the shark.
There's a guy on my block who just throws water out the window at people when they go by.
Why?
He's a fucking nut. And then the police have been there like so many times, and then he'll claim, because it's his bathroom window, that he was taking a shower and it must have slapped out. And the cops just always just go, stop fucking throwing water out the window.
It's like not shower water. It's just like
no, I've seen his fucking hand go out. And I've seen people go like this, I will fuck you up! I will climb up 5 fucking flights of stairs and I'll kick you until you're fucking dead! And I'll be just having a smoke out front and I'm fucking rolling. Because, first of all, the guy is like a total, I mean, I don't know the excitement level to throw a cup of water, like what that does for anyone. But I it's like watching a prank show. How quickly people, like, when they see him, like, up there, and this dude is easily 50s, if not 60s, you know?
Yeah.
Never saw him on the street. He can't walk on my block. I mean, it can't happen. He has to send people out.
Holy shit.
Or he'll be fucking chased like he was Frankenstein. Like, literally, there will be villagers with pitchforks and torches. That's that fucking water throwing guy!
Get him!
And I know.
Get him!
And even though I think it's really funny, I'd have to go over and just start stomping on him, too.
Yeah.
It's mob mentality.
I got caught up.
It just seemed like so much fun.
I can't tell you how much fun it is to be in a mob.
Someone hands me a pitchfork, I'm going to get to work.
Who was behind the Sal booking?
That was Christine.
Nice move. That Christine's smart. By the way, Christine is producing the show that Gail and I have been offered to come out and hang out with, and that's Creeps with Kids.
Yes.
I keep wanting to call it Creepy Kids, but that's not it. So it's Robert Kelly's show, but Gail and I are going to do some hosting on it. We don't know exactly why, because Robert doesn't work that way, you know?
It's a mystery.
Yeah. So Robert Kelly is part of this. Bonnie McFarlane, Jim Florentine, and Louis J. Gomez. Tuesday, August 30th at the Underground. Go to comedycellar.com for tickets. Now, here is the other really funny thing about that is they all think they're great parents. Right? But they all have really little kids. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you don't know.
You're not sure.
Like, you could feel like you were a great parent, and then your kid fucking shoots up a gay nightclub. Like, that dude, you know what I mean? Like, it seemed like he didn't have any major problems until around that time.
Yeah, and you know that every time, I mean, watch any local news of any kind of tragedy, everyone goes, they were the nicest people, or I never would expect. The same thing of parents say about their kids. He was the sweetest little boy. He was my little boy, and now he's done something horrible.
Dude, I knew this fucking family. They were like the Cheese family, right? Their dad looked like, he probably was a lifeguard years before. The mom could have sold, fucking Avon products or, like one of those really put together. They have 3 kids. They're like little track stars. Like always the weird kind of smiley face sports that most people don't play. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like good, healthy sports. They're not playing fucking football or, you know what I mean? These people. Then they had a fucking 4th kid. And this fucking kid could have been Heisenberg. And he was the only one that I was friendlier with. This motherfucker, when he was in 7th grade, he's in Catholic school. In the church, right? He puts up a split beef hustler picture. He fucking puts it up there. Priest comes in. He just goes fucking wild, right? And he was like one of these kids, like in 6th or 7th grade, like he would have a fucking handful of pills that he just stole from somewhere and would just be like, I don't know what they are. And he's just eating them. I mean, he was fucking crazy. So everything he's doing, next level shit. He's a fighter. He's a fucking dealer, all this shit. The parents and the older, they did everything they could. Everything. This fucking guy gets shot. He's paralyzed from the fucking waist down. Doesn't fucking slow him down at all. He's wheeling and dealing and fucking getting in fights in a wheelchair. Finally, the fucking kid, I think he OD'd and died. And everybody in the town was like, it's good for them. Hopefully now they can get their family back together.
Get back to some of those good, like, clean, fun sports.
No one knew why this kid was so fucking evil. And he was.
Like he was from the fruits of the devil.
Thank you. And here's the thing. There was always at least one crazy pussy chick who was right there with him. He would always have the craziest fucking bitches. And you'd be like, and like something happened, like, he's gonna fuck you up, you fucking pussies. He's gonna come back and rain fucking hell on this whole fucking day. We'd be like, shit. He will, too. They were I could fucking write a script about this motherfucker. Except for I'd be afraid that at the fucking end of it, the fucking hand would pop up out of the ground and grab him.
You are going to get an NC-17 rating for that split beef scene, though.
Dude, all I got to do is a fucking reaction shot. It was fucking horrifying. Well, there are those fucking type kids. You don't know where it comes from. You don't know. And the rest of the family could have been like Trumps. You know what I mean? Like they were just achievers and nice people.
Yeah, and you never, like, it's either one of a few things. Like, sometimes it feels like kids are born with this
Born to be bad.
Yeah, like fully realized personality, for better or for worse. Like, whatever that thing is. Maybe you're just born with that. But then there's another thing where something could have happened, some sort of spark, bad event or whatever, and you just don't know how it's going to affect a child. You don't know if that's going to make them want to be a better person later in life, or it's going to make them be a complete terror.
I'm going to guess this. I'm going to guess when he was 3, he wanted mac and cheese and didn't get it. And then he just decided to go buck wild and punish the fucking world.
You'll pay for this. You'll all pay.
You know that thing of some men just want to see the world burn? Mm-hmm. That was this fucking dude, man. He could have been the Joker in a fucking wheelchair. He'd still be the scariest Joker you ever saw. You just see him fucking wheeling and dealing all fucked up at some concert, just spinning around and shit. Yeah! You're like, nothing slows this fuck down. I still wouldn't have fought him in the chair. I would have the only way I would have fought that fucking dude is if I could have run uphill and just started throwing shit down. Here's Tony in Florida. Tony.
Ronnie.
Hey, man.
Sorry to bother you at work.
I wish it was the first time I heard that. I loved it the first time.
Hey, just want to thank you guys for introducing me and my lovely wife to Stranger Things. Probably the greatest show ever.
You know, this is the funny thing, because so many shows come up. I've already forgotten about Stranger Things. I was mad for it for a while.
Well, it was 83, so.
Yeah.
But
right.
I don't know, of all these...
Yeah, go ahead.
Of all these shows, that one has really stuck with me. Like, I continue to think about the characters. I think about what they're going to do with the second season. I think about, I don't know. It's just like something about that. And I know it probably has to do with the nostalgia thing. Like it was handled very well.
Let me just say this though, because anytime that you watch something with kids in it, it's nostalgic even when it's happening in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, when you watch Stand By Me, that's a nostalgic film the day it came out.
Yeah.
You know, because saying anything with kids reminded you of your own childhood. These are the best kid actors in fucking decades. Those kids were incredible. They felt, looked, talked like kids.
Yeah.
Which is a really hard thing for kids to pull off, because the kids that normally get that are like little stage actors. You know what I mean?
You're like, 11, what are we going to do? I'm afraid we're going to the upside down.
See, that would have fucking ruined it for you. And you're like, I don't know how people watch this shit. They could have done the same lines. And if they were like little professional kid actors, you would hate it. But you worried about those kids.
Yeah.
You know, they were great. And why was the one kid toothless? What was the gimmick of that?
He actually has some sort of birth thing that he didn't get his adult teeth. So they actually wrote that into the character, but that actual actor, they cast him and they were like, he's so perfect. But they couldn't not address the fact that he has no front teeth.
But that's also why it's brilliant filmmaking. You know what I mean? Like, that's why that's the kind of stuff that makes something great. Like, we're going to have this kid. How do we explain that?
And do you remember there was a scene where the bullies come up and were like, do that weird thing with your shoulder, freak? Well, that kid actually is double jointed. So they wrote that scene. They kind of modified it to fit him because he was such a weird kid.
Why do you know so much about Stranger Things?
Because I loved it so much.
A lot of production notes.
I know. You could do that.
A couple of fun facts for you guys.
Do the director's fucking voiceover gimmick. I don't even remember what that's called. What do they use?
Director's commentary.
Yeah. Which, remember, we all loved for a while in the 90s? Like, you would just watch everything with the commentary at any chance you could. If you look back there, that wallet that is sitting there, that is his actual wallet.
What? So cool.
Always that. You notice that we changed the colors from the brights that we started with to the deeper hues. That shows that his soul is darkening.
I never would have picked up on this.
I never pick up on anything.
The commentary is so great.
Every fucking like rom-com, the guy starts so frumpy and his clothes get better as he's falling in love. And it's just, I miss it every single time. Suddenly he's wearing tailored clothes. You know, I'm just like, I don't know. I like that dude better than when he started off. I just like him now.
I don't know what it is.
Here is, let's go to Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, what's the name of the show again? Nuts for Kids or something?
Nuts for Kids. That's the name of it.
Oh, no. The parents that shitty. Is that, what's the name of it?
Nuts for Kids.
Well, you're going to air this on the radio, right?
Yeah, we're going to air Nuts for Kids on the radio. Appreciate it. Eric in New Jersey.
Hey, Ron, first thing, when you're waiting on hold, the level is real low, just so you know. But I got a spy report. Report. You know those two swimmers that said they were robbed at the Olympics?
Yeah.
A judge has just ruled they're not to leave the country because of inconsistencies in their testimony.
I should have mentioned that a while ago, but yeah, we brought it up, and we're just saying Run, dudes. Run. Get out.
Get out of the country.
Don't fucking hand your passport over to no one. Even when I'm going over the border, I go like this. I'll hold the passport. You can look at it.
Don't touch it.
Don't fucking touch it. I need this to get back in the United States.
You know what? Just hand me the stamp and I'll stamp it myself.
Even when I'm coming back into America, I'm like, I fucking live here, dude. Why am I showing you anything? I just want to go home. Where I've always been. Why are you asking me questions? It's me. It's me.
If I were those swimmers, I would just duct tape that thing to my chest 30 times. You're not touching this thing.
No.
This stays on
First
the person.
of all, I would just put on a fake mustache by now. This dude already has green hair. He's like the most recognizable person south of the border. I'd be just walking around with a sombrero and a big broom fucking mustache. No, si, senor. I just live here in Brazil. Pull the fucking donkey with me.
Okay. Strangely, that Mexican man is saying he's Brazil, but that can't be Lochte.
See? I just looking for tequila.
No, that's just some old Mexican drunk.
But don't you ever think this when you're back in the fucking, like you're coming back in the States, you're like, if they don't let me in, where would I go?
I always
back
think
to
that.
Fucking Czechoslovakia?
I guess I'm fucked. I guess I'm just staying in
You
the
were
airport.
very anxious in the airport.
I don't like being asked questions. I don't like taking my belt off. I don't like showing my papers. I don't like doing any of these fucking things.
It's true.
I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm saying you were visibly nervous, which is the last thing you want to look.
Dude, I was in a car with someone that I had to start speaking for and saying, because they froze up.
I will say on the way, when we went to Montreal, on the way in, you know how they start to ask you questions. What's your business or pleasure? What are you doing exactly? Where are you staying? So the woman is asking me, okay, business. What are you doing here? And I was like, well, we're going to be at the Just for Laughs. Oh, are you a comedian? Are you going to be performing? No, it's for radio. We're talking about it. And then she's like, oh, cool. What show is it? And I was like, well, it's on Sirius XM. And she's like, what channel? And I was like, channel? What? Well, it's and I immediately watched her slowly look up from her paper like, okay, we got a crazy one. I'm like, oh, the channel that we are on, 90. It's in the 90. Well, it's 90. What's it? And I'm like, what am I doing? Why can't I just say 99? Raw dog. Who cares? I could have said fucking anything, but because I got stuck on an answer that I actually think she was curious about. I don't even really think that this had anything to do.
Yeah, she doesn't want the facts. She wants to see how you handle yourself.
And I cracked. I cracked, guys.
You cracked big time.
And I was just like, those are my friends over there. They're already through. Just please let me with them.
Please. No. I am going back to the United States.
What do you mean by that? Exactly.
I mean, you want the 99, I think. Because I'm with ISIS. See, that's the thing.
I didn't want to tell you this.
There are people that walk around with so much guilt, right? That they are afraid that if the police talk to them about any situation, that they'll just cop to it. There are people who just cop to whatever because that's a mental illness of thinking maybe I did do it.
Well, you've ever had in school when the drug dogs come through, and it doesn't matter. If you're not holding anything on your person, immediately you're like, this is it. I don't know why, but I'm in trouble, and I don't know why I'm going to be in trouble. There's nothing. I don't think I have anything bad on me. Immediately your brain starts going.
I've been clean and sober for a long time, and if I get pulled over for a speeding ticket, I start looking for things to put under the seat. I'm not fucking making that up. I just want to just shove things under the seat for no reason. Now, this is the weird thing about me. I fall into the most harmless demographic that exists.
Yeah.
I'm a middle-aged white guy. I don't have to take my shoes off when they're patting Chris down. You know what I mean? I walked into that plane as easy as I walked into the fucking mall.
Yeah.
And yet, the back of my mind goes, I don't know if I got anything on me at all. Could I have something? Did I not remember? And that's what that night of is kind of about. That if there's enough like strange, bad coincidences that happen, you could go to jail because you can't prove that this didn't happen.
And there's that very crucial time period where you're immediately taken in, and if you have in any way said anything that's slightly weird, you've spoken without your lawyer present, or you agree to anything whatsoever. And the reason that people are so quick to do this is they have no experience with it. And in their minds, if you're the type of person who's taught to trust authority, you have no reason to go, oh, they wouldn't just frame me. So maybe, right. And this is how bad shit happens. Like, luckily this kid what was the show where the guy, Making a Murderer, right?
Yeah. On Netflix.
So the focus of that show was that whatever that guy's name was, but there was his younger nephew,
right,
was very similar to the West Memphis 3. He was a very simple kid.
Yeah.
And they took that kid, and I found that way more disturbing than the Making a Murderer story. Like, the secondary part of it was his nephew, and I was like, this is horrifying. It's so scary to witness them take a kid who is clearly very simple and just say, well, you don't want to be saying that you didn't do it because it'll be better if you say you do. And they're so terrified. They're like, yep, I did it. And then later somebody
just
like
to stop the uncomfortability of that conversation.
Yes, and they will tell you can go home. He was telling you're going to go back to school. Don't worry, we'll take you back. And then they confess, and then after he confesses, he's like, you're not going back, right? And he just said it because he was so uncomfortable and scared. And later, when this kid speaks to his mom, she's crying and she's like, why would you say that you did this? And he was just like, I don't know. I'm scared. I don't know. I didn't. And he was just so confused. And that happens constantly. It happens constantly. It happens more often in the black community than the white community. It's like this use of intimidation, and you can fucking ruin your life that way.
Yeah, because I think the interrogation went on for like 12 hours or something. And the kid was like, I want to go home and watch SmackDown or something, like shit like that. And the kid was obviously not all there.
Yeah.
And they said the crime they were saying he did was fucking horrific.
Yeah.
Murdering and raping a woman.
Hey, Nick, what's up? Nick, we got you, buddy?
Yeah, what's going on, buddies?
Hey.
I remember when you were doing grand jury, you said, just the idea that it's the state versus this one person in this show is like really made me feel that shit. Like when she goes into the coroner or the drug lady, and it's like, what could people get away with on these drugs? Like, I know people who would have this much in them and they're sleeping, and I know people would fly across the country. Which ones are you interested in? Like, holy shit.
This is the two things about the night of. Number one, those are the exact places that I was at. Like, when you watch these shows, they shoot them in the place that I was at. So I remember when that grand jury started, I felt like I was on a fucking TV show. And the first witness that was talking, I honestly had the thought in my head, this guy's really good. Like, literally. Felt like this is so fucking good. You know what I mean? Because you're so used to saying that your whole life. And by the way, the woman who plays the prosecutor in that, she's like this kind of middle-aged Jewish. She's unbelievable.
She's incredible. Like, her performance in that, and there's some great performances, is head and shoulders above everyone else.
Because she's real. She's so real. But like I told you too, when I did that, all the detectives had the fucking case wrapped up. They did not. There wasn't like, let us provide you evidence. They would just say, here's the signed confession. Like, I never saw a detective not have it wrapped up.
Because they tell them, if you sign this confession, we can get you probation or we can get you less time. But if you make us go into this courtroom, you have the potential to go away for a very long time.
And it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. If you look at 5 years as opposed to life, you're like, that's a fucking hell of a gamble with your life to say, no, I'll fight so I won't have to do 5 years. And I could end, because the prosecutors are immediately pissed that they got to go and do all this stuff. It's a very scary and difficult thing for anyone. I mean, ask anyone who's ever had, the IRS against them. You're going against the government. It's the government against you. It's a scary fucking proposition. No matter who you are, whether you did it or didn't do it, it's still frightening.
And if you are assigned a lawyer, if you get a lawyer because you can't afford to pay for somebody who can take care of you, this person just wants to get out of this. They have
a lot of stuff to do. They have a lot of stuff.
And they're friends with the prosecutor. So they're just like, hey, so what do you want to do? You want to get out of this thing? Or what do you
But, it's not as corrupt as you're making it sound, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff that also get kids some breaks and stuff like that. It's just the system being what the system is. It's better to be rich than it is to be poor.
But it's corrupt in the sense that it doesn't work for everyone. It can't be across the board.
But how can it be? How can that happen? You know what I mean? Like, how can that take place? The thing that you're describing. The reason that so many kind of lower income people or black people cheered over the OJ thing is like, see, your fucking system can be beat by a rich guy. They got a kick out of that. Because if OJ wasn't rich, just the same way that you're saying these experts for the prosecution, experts for the defense can be the same way. Like, tell me what you want to say. I'll go in and do it. I mean, they brought in blood experts that were, Nobel Prize winners. They fucking beat the shit out of the prosecution then. But it cost OJ millions of dollars. He had it. Most people don't have that kind of money. Imagine anyone you know, if they said the same thing that's in this show, you got to come up with $50K. Most people don't have $50K in savings. Even people that are doing well off, you see them, they get a nice big house and a couple of cars and jet skis and a pool. They still don't have $50K fucking lying around that they could just hand a lawyer. Yeah. Most of that money they're in debt for. So it's, when people sit around and fucking say they hate lawyers and all that shit, wait until you need one. And you're glad to have that son of a bitch there. But that thing that you brought up is you have a right just to say, I ain't saying shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean there's never been a case where someone has said, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, when the police picked him up, he refused to talk to them. It's never come up. Yeah. And yet people always feel like they need to immediately start showing that they're a good person.
And when you say that you're not going to talk to the police, it's not like the pressure ends there. They continue on to say, really? Because that really sounds like somebody who's guilty of this thing. If you just, you know what I mean? Like that, that they immediately.
But you also kind of want a cop to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like you want a cop who will do whatever he can do within the law to get guilty people arrested. This game is literally set up that way.
But for the case that I was talking about, the making a murder case of this young guy, what they were doing is outside of the law to manipulate.
I don't think it's outside of the law if this kid doesn't take advantage of his rights.
But if you're sending an innocent person to prison,
that isn't decided then. It's decided in a court of law.
Well, it's sick. It's such a fucking terrible system.
It isn't. It's literally the best system that's ever been invented. There's plenty of systems that the fact of the matter is you have to know what your rights are and take advantage of this.
But if you compare what our prison system looks like to other countries who work the same basic principles we do, innocent until proven guilty, that at the core of you have the right to defend yourself. So what is it about our system? Is it that it's tied so deeply to money that the prison system is privatized and ultimately it's better for us to feed that system?
You're only buying into one part of it. I'm talking about the fact of you literally have rights, and the person who doesn't take advantage of those rights has made a big mistake. The thing of, and I've seen these defense attorneys that they do. Most of them are very young. They get 50 fucking cases. So the chances of them even having the ability to take any of those cases to court is a long shot.
Right. But, and I see what you're saying, but if what you're saying is that it is your fault not taking responsibility for exercising your own rights, should we not have a system in place where maybe somebody who can't properly make those kind of decisions, or disenfranchised groups who have everything going against them when they walk into that room, don't we as a society owe that protection in some way?
Well, we do have the protection. You say I have a right to attorney.
Then maybe it's that
we give them an attorney. You know what I mean? Like they have an attorney supplied to them. Now, here's the truth about it. You can't really say what justice is. It's impossible. That's why they battle it out every single time. And, you know, the fucking harshness of this is everybody has to be able to say to themselves, am I on this side all the time? I was just watching this thing where this jogger got killed in Brooklyn. And I've honestly tried to stay away from the news because it's so horrific. And the family they wanted to raise $100,000 to find out who this, there's no lead to it. And they end up raising $250,000. They got to figure out what they're going to do with the other money. $100,000 for anybody, right? The mother was on TV yesterday, and she's looking in the camera, and she's like, "We are coming for you. You can't hide. We're after you." And my heart was broken watching this. This mother who was vengeful. Vengeance was the only thing that she had left. That person that they're looking for deserves the best fucking defense that he can have. That's what's crazy sounding, that you can get so polluted on one side of the other. Because I'm ready to string them up with the people that are out there. I get it completely. But at the same time, I also get everybody, including the guilty, need the best defense that they can possibly get.
And the innocent. I mean, that's also at the other side of what happens.
Doesn't matter at that point. We don't know who's guilty. There's a thing of innocence in everyone, and a thing of, kind of guilt in everyone.
Right. But I'm saying that is also made to protect when somebody gets it wrong.
Everybody agrees 100%. Everybody's with you 100%. But what I'm saying is, you are shining to certain cases, and there are other cases where a policeman might have fucked up, and that person who can, that they didn't do their job correctly, or the system was set up so something that got lost or whatever. Those things are there as well. It's never what you would call fair. It's not. It can't be. It's human stuff. They do get a defense. Do they get the best defense? No, rich people always get better stuff. Always. For everything. Here's Matt. Matt, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm a police officer, and I just want to say, they plead everything down, no matter what, across the board. And from the other side of the other perspective, it's incredibly frustrating when you have criminals that are dead to rights, and even like sometimes when they've done crimes against you, where like while they were resisting, they punched you in the face, or they hit you, or they've assaulted you, which are felonies, and then you talk to these ADAs or the prosecutors, where they're like, yeah, we're knocking that down, we're knocking this down, we're going to get rid of this, because they just never want to go to court. So it happens on the other side just as much.
In New York City, the percentages of cases that go to court are incredibly small. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Incredibly small. So what he's saying, Gail, from his perspective, a lot of people who do horrific crimes end up doing 5 years because, there's a chance for the prosecutor to get a win, to put it down that this person was convicted, blah, blah, blah. And then we're dealing with a criminal in 5 years and a criminal who's now been in prison with a bunch of other fucking roughnecks. And his attitude might be changed by the time he gets back on the street.
Yeah.
And just from my personal experience, like I've locked up a guy, like I locked up a guy who had 40 bags of crack on him one time. And then they pleaded all that down. Like I arrested him and I charged him with to sell and the felony amount. And then they pleaded with him. They got rid of the intent to sell. They cut the amount that was in there in half for some reason. They knocked everything down to only like misdemeanors. So he got out very early. And then I'm in the precinct one day and I walk by and he's in the cell. Like, oh, I remember that guy. He was like my third arrest ever. And they were like, yeah, he did a drive-by. He just shot 3 people. And I was like, well, if that guy didn't get pleaded down in maybe 10 years or whatever, like if they took that for college seriously, maybe he wouldn't have been out in 8 months, 7 months. And then he shot like a 4-year-old kid by accident. He was trying to shoot somebody else. And like, I can tell you 100,000 of these stories of how many times I've been punched in the face. And then some ADA was like, well, you didn't lose any teeth and you didn't get knocked out or go to the hospital, so we're just going to get rid of that. And it's like, so now they just know you could punch cops in the face all you want because unless you killed this cop, they're going to just get rid of that charge anyway. And that's what also fuels cops to be like, you know what, that guy punched me in the face, and I know he's going to get that charge removed, so I'm going to just beat the shit out of him now because that's the only way he's going to get I'm going to get any kind of justice for like this guy knocked me in the face. I'm gonna have to beat him up now because I know they're gonna get rid of that charge.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could argue with the fact that guilty people should go to prison and that we should have a system in which they have a proper defense. My specific frustration is a system that kind of perpetuates a thing where innocent people or people who have been put in a bad situation are coerced into doing things because there's not a better option for them. That their defense will always be poor, and they react out of pure fear. Something that, like, I hope that no one ever has to experience. Like, how
absolutely.
The frustration of that, like, it makes me so furious. The amount of people who, and you think about the amount of people who populate the prison system who may not have been the right guy or the right woman. How many people have been sentenced to death? It's a very, very scary idea.
But I have also known things where people I know are quick to judge somebody as soon as they're arrested. You know what I mean? People abandon them or whatever. So things happen on both sides of that. There are people who should have done a lot more time who don't do that kind of time, and there are people who are in there and it's unjust. We do have that problem, but I don't think it's as cynical as you're making it out to be. I'm saying if you look at the problem itself, and smarter people than you and me have worked to change that system and have either been grinded down by it or just like I changed a little bit here and there. But overall, it's almost an impossible task to take on. Now, I'm going to give you an option here. There's a young guy running as the law and order president who I believe who's going to get rid of some of these aliens that are raping and killing us and stop the Muslim sympathizers like the president of the United States who started ISIS. And his name is Donald Trump. And he's coming, America. And he's coming with hell on his side.
The law's back in town.
Disco Dan, what is it? Why is Disco Dan? What does he need? What do you need, Disco Dan? You heard something you need to jump in on?
No.
Just enjoying? No. Because I know you're a bleeding heart liberal.
Yeah, no, I thought this was a great conversation, so I was listening on my radio and had to walk over so see it live.
Well, you know what? Have a seat and watch right up here. Gail is saying that she wants a perfect system. And
I'm saying it's a terrible system that needs addressing.
I don't know if I would call it terrible. It's the best we've been able to do. And it gets addressed every day by well-meaning people.
Do you really think that it gets the proper attention that it deserves, though?
Who do you want the attention from?
I honestly think that it's
every
important.
Human being?
Yeah, that it's if this is the system that we work and this is what we have in place to both protect. It's meant to protect us in every way, shape, or form.
Right.
From being accused of something we didn't do to when you have been victimized or someone you love has been victimized by a crime.
Yeah.
Because you have to always think on every end of it, right? Like that person who's standing there having to defend their life, that person has family. But that victim has family, and I get it.
There's nothing there that we all don't agree with.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I understand that in theory or on paper, it is a system that...
Look, here's the thing, though. It is better to be born with the last name Kennedy and that money than it is to be born a black kid in the Bronx. It's just fact. You're not going to get around that.
I understand that, but is that something that we should just accept?
We don't accept it. People work at this every single day. You act like cynical people are like, I'm so glad we have this terrible system. It's a human system. And people work at it. And like I said, it's so fucking complex that people actually get ground down by it. There are people that none of us will ever hear of who work very, very hard for victims' rights. There's the ACLU. Some of these people are attacked publicly for the work that they do. Over and over and over. Let's go over here to, here's Mason. Mason, what's up?
Hello?
Hey, buddy. You're on the air.
Hey, Bennington, $1,000,000. So I went to law school, and I practiced arbitration, and I quit because when you realize that the entire system is set up to plea out to get everybody paid. None of these cases that you're talking about actually go to trial. And any law firm you've seen on TV or on bus ads or bus stop ads or whatever, they're in the business of pleading out, just like you said, to put money in their pocket. And the people that can't afford halfway decent attorneys, they take it all pro bono. You are right, because there are people that work for immigrants, especially, social. I don't mean to use the term social justice warriors, but they're people that are the voice of the unheard, right?
Right.
And they do God's work, I would like to think. But 9 out of 10 times, if a judge has seen the evidence, if it's going to court, the guy did it anyway. So, I mean, if it's going to trial in the first place, the guy did it. I think it's a broken system in the sense that there's, for-profit prisons and things like that, but guys are nice guys.
If you're coming at this already from the perspective, and by the way, I listened to everything you said, and I appreciate what you were saying. But I think it's very scary to think that people automatically would agree that if it goes to trial, then this person did it. If there is evidence
Dude,
that is
can I tell you, I sat in the grand jury thing. There were tons of people who thought if they didn't do it, they wouldn't be here, right?
Yeah.
They would not be here. But that is American citizens. This is the fucking people that get pulled into that jury thing, don't want to sit and argue it out. They're much more simple thinking people where did he do it? Didn't he do it? Who cares if the cop grabbed him? He still had the dope on him. Who cares? You know what I mean? So you're going to deal with people who have zero legal training, and I was one of them. I was one of them in there for a month. Not going to happen. The only way that you could ever get something that would be perfect would be like if you had some wise king that, existed that was saying, bring everything to me and I'll settle it. Because then you're not going to have human beings. You'd have to have this super fucking king.
No, I understand that. And I think that just because this system can't be perfect doesn't mean that we shouldn't illuminate the things about it that are, that need, so greatly to be addressed.
Look, it always comes down to this. Even when that thing of whether he did it or not, right? The levels of what those charges can be and the way they're thought of, that's never going to be fair. It's never fair that you go in. I remember I got in trouble when I was a kid in the city of Philadelphia, and it was juvenile stuff, right? The fact that my parents came in with me, and there was just a room full, and there was kids running up and down the hall and just fucking around because they were much more used to this. Just the fact that my parents came into me, the judge could say, look, you give him 6 months and then it's off the fucking books if he's not in trouble in 6 months. Anyone from the outside could look at that and go, look what this white kid in the suburbs got compared to what these kids did. But if you look at what he said is like, here's a life that I might be able to give a second chance to, and here's a life that somebody is on a path that they could get more trouble. You could definitely look at that as racism. You could definitely look at it as classism, and I benefited from both of those things. You know what I mean? But what should the judge have done? Should the judge have said, I'm not treating you any differently than these other kids? I mean, what would be the fair thing there?
I guess the fair thing would be to treat anyone else of the same respect level that he would have given you, because you had parents who were there to support you. You were white. They gave you a suit to wear. You know what I mean? Like whatever those things are.
First of all, it was a sport coat. Second of all, it wasn't just because I was white and came from this background. I literally had a support system.
Right.
That was going to show we can pull this kid back. Is it fair that those other kids didn't have a support system? No. But was it also fair that those kids were going to end up in probably more and more violent problems? You know, you couldn't possibly turn around and give those kids a fucking home in the suburbs and parents who said, look, I'm going to fucking stay on this kid.
But isn't there something scary about that sort of like Minority Report mentality on just going by race, just going by class? Isn't there something there that is scary to you?
No. First of all, being there that day was fucking frightening, period, and would be to any thinking person. But I'm telling you that I saw kids who didn't give a fuck, right? They didn't give a fuck because of the background that they had. There's nothing fair about that. And yet, from his point of view, I could see why it made sense, because it did make sense.
Right.
To have taken me away that day or established a record where, imagine I couldn't have gotten a job in radio. But anyway, the fucking truth is, if you even look back to it, most of my stuff, even at 16 years old, was all addiction based.
But now imagine, so you're describing this scene of there's kids there, they're running wild, they don't care, they were probably going to be set for, a life of crime and continue. But now imagine the kid who's born looking like those kids, but he's a kid like you, right? And he's drowning in a system.
Wait, did you think for a second this needs to be pointed out to me?
No,
I get it 100%. It's fucking, that part of it is more unfair, but what you're saying is the DNA of who you were born with is unfair. You're going to have to blame that one on God. You know what I mean? That is not a fair system. It isn't. It isn't something that man did, though. You know what I mean? Man did not say, let's put these children with these unwanted fucking people. I saw a thing the other day, a cop's driving, and I think it was in Ohio. He sees this little kid in front of a CVS. He pulls over and gets out. The kid is trying to sell his stuffed animals because he hasn't 7 years old. He's trying to sell his stuffed animals. He goes, buys the kid Subway, goes back to the fucking house. You know, it's a fucking horror show there. They take the parents, they give the kids out, the different people. There's nothing fucking fair about that. It's not fucking fair at Chris Stanley, the childhood he had. Nothing's fair about it. I don't know what to tell you about that. Some people, you know, is it fair I wasn't fucking born with LeBron James's skills? No, that's not fucking fair. There's plenty of it's not fair.
But I don't know if that's a reason to accept and say, well, the system can never improve.
No one ever said that. The system's improving and fucking falling every day. People work really hard at this system. Really fucking hard. Here is Brandon. Brandon, what's up?
Yeah, hey, Bennington.
Yeah.
How's it going?
What's up?
So, when my daughter was born, she was perfectly healthy. At 5 months old, I was giving her to her mother's sister-in-law, who was our babysitter. And she was kind of a problem child as far as crying with people she didn't know. Well, she was attacked by her aunt, technically, and she died about 3 different times, was put into an induced coma. They were able to save her, so she's still around with us today. She's 10 years old now, but when it came down to the trial, and, let me skip back. When she went to the hospital, they found that it wasn't an accident, even though she had claimed it was an accident. She gave a videotaped confession to the district attorney and to the sheriff's office, explaining exactly what she had done. So they never arrested her, even though she had given a videotaped confession. And it was videotaped. They never arrested her. So while my daughter was fighting for her life down in the hospital in Phoenix, and I live up in northern Arizona, she's fighting for her life. This woman who had attacked her was living her day-to-day normal life like nothing had happened, going to work, driving her car, living a good life while my daughter's fighting for her life. When it came down to the actual trial being set, she ended up pleading out, and the plea out was only for 5 years, and with good time served, 85%, so she got out in 3.5 years.
All right, thanks, Brandon. There's rough stories on both sides of this.
Of course, yeah.
Here's an interesting one. This is Mark. Mark, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Bennington?
Yeah.
Actually, I just wanted to add something real fast to Gail's last point. I think there is something that could be done immediately that I've heard a lot of law people talking about that it seems simple that they should have done by now, but it's just making the suspect invisible to the jury so that they have no idea as to actually their race. Like, they shouldn't even be in the court.
So the jury just hears the so-called facts about it, and then they don't get the opportunity. At the same time, would you not bring the victims or any experts into the courtroom?
As far as I know, in this situation, they said everything would remain the same. They would just have the suspect would be sequestered in in a room off to the sides, where so that there was no biases.
But the bias would be there that this person doesn't get to fucking explain themselves in front of a jury. In the same way of, let's say this, when we're talking about fairness. If you're on a jury, do you look at somebody like you said when you were making fun of me for being forced into wearing court clothes that day?
I was not making fun of you.
But do you think a jury looks at somebody with tat sleeves differently than they do somebody untatted? Absolutely, 100%.
But I also wasn't speaking about, and I think that's, it's a part of the same system. I was talking about the snap judgment that is made oftentimes before that person even gets to court. Why that person is arrested, and what happens when a forced confession, a plea deal, that specific system. And I understand there's, the court system in the way that, a jury, that's never going to be a perfect system. It can't be, because it's based on humans.
So your number one thing is no one should talk to police without a lawyer.
And that they should not be able to use intimidation to force people and coerce people to change their minds.
Well, first of all, you have no idea how far we've come with this entire thing.
No,
because the term "the usual suspects" was going out, grabbing the guys who are the rough and tumble guys, and punching them until they say, "I know a guy who did it." That is in my lifetime. Jimmy Schubert's dad was a Philadelphia detective, and that used to be a really rough fucking gang of guys who, by the way, had at that time what was considered an impossible job. That's how bad the city was. So, I mean, that kind of stuff is the improvements that have gotten made before you became aware of it are phenomenal. But no one celebrates that. People, I mean, we're just calling it a corrupt system and the worst system ever. And I'm telling you, that system has improved better than refereeing in the NFL.
Right. Or mob mentality where you string up somebody before they even get to have their day in court. I'm aware that, there's been a lot of progress. But I still think that the fight for progress is what makes the system better. If they had said, well, this has come a lot farther than 30 years before this and then stopped, we would be in trouble. So I think it's a good thing to highlight where injustices are happening in order to make a better system.
Here is Eric. Eric, what's up?
Hey, Bennington. So everything Ron has said I got to agree with, but there's a part of this I'm going to disagree with also. In 1992, I was convicted of a Class 5 federal felony for bank larceny. My original charge was embezzlement. I stole money from a bank I worked at. I was white, middle class. My parents couldn't afford a lawyer. I actually had a federal public defender who had just transferred into Denver from San Diego, where he got tired of dealing with lowlifes. As he put it, he says, I'm going to give you the best defense I can. He said, because you're the first person that I've dealt with in a long time who's like, yeah, I fucked up and I want to do my time. He says, versus a lot of these guys I deal with who are like, oh, I didn't do it. I ended up, when you go through the process before sentencing, at least at the federal level, they do such an intense background of you, your family, etc., and then they make a recommendation to the judge at sentencing. And, I mean, I've got a packet that's 30 pages thick from back then with 3 pages of it dedicated just to sentencing guidelines and then 5 pages of my background showing what I'm eligible for and what I qualified for. And the recommendation was straight probation, nothing else. The judge looked at it and said, no, and threw it out the window and turned around and gave me 30 days in a federal minimum correctional facility, 6 months of what they call house arrest with the ankle bracelet, and then 5 years of supervised probation. And everybody looked at what the judge said, and they're like, this guy, this individual qualifies for the absolute minimum guidelines, which is straight probation. I paid the money back, everything. Everything that I should have done correctly. And the judge says, no, I'm going to set an example. Okay, fine. Here I am now. Let's fast forward. Obama just pardoned all these people recently and commuted all these sentences. I've spent $10,000 of money hiring lawyers, going through the process to get a full presidential pardon. I was one of the people that should have been in this group, and Obama declined to sign, even though I have full recommendations from, political people here in my state. I'm friends with my city mayor. I'm friends with one of my city council members. I'm friends with one of my state senators through family connections. I had letters from a priest, everything else. And they came back and said, no, I forget the full wording on the paperwork in front of me, but basically they said that I didn't qualify, even though I had every last bit of recommendations saying I do. And all these people that he pardoned.
So what you're saying is you're like the victim of reverse racism.
Well, reverse racism, reverse discrimination, however you want to put it. And, I mean, my attorney looked at this. Even the U.S. Attorney's Office, the pardon attorney, they looked at this going, why in the hell? Because their recommendation was that he sign it.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the thing that, first of all, reverse racism is still racism, but you could see why somebody who has to answer to political things has to say, why is 95% of this and 5% of this? If they could move you up a little bit, yeah. It's not a good thing for a white guy to be caught up in the fucking system. No doubt about it. I wasn't even talking about the fact that I was white, and I was only talking about a thing that happened a million years ago when I was 15 or 16 years old. I was saying they did not have the same structure of people who were willing to take responsibility.
Right, which has more to do with class or to do with...
Yes, it has much to do with class, but class and race is so fucking connected.
Right.
In this country.
Yeah, and of course, the example that started this whole conversation, Brendan Dassey, who is he's a young white male, and so it's a system that, like, yes, that's maybe not the exact median of what that person looks like who would have been victim to this type of injustice, but it's one that I think that everybody should be educated on, because it could affect anyone, and it oftentimes affects the people who cannot defend themselves.
Okay. But let's look at the political pressure that's put on mayors, whoever, which comes down to judges and the judges that they appoint. It's always law and order. You never hear people say in this country, we need to give criminals more thing. The people who speak out the most are the people, and let's face it, that's the news. A young girl gets raped, slashed, kid gets beat up at school and goes into a coma. Immediately people go, we need tougher laws. We need tougher laws. So there's the pressure really comes from people doing that kind of stuff on politics. The people that are talking the way that you do are a quieter voice.
Yeah.
People like you and Dan that
they don't vote as much either.
Yeah. So again, at what point do you say that there's fairness anywhere? It just isn't. I don't even know how you get to it.
Can I share a personal story?
Was this about you shitting yourself at school again, Dan?
No, I won't tell that one again.
All right, what is it?
So I grew up with this girl, and
she was pretty.
Sure,
she wasn't paying attention to you.
No, that's not to do with it.
Okay.
So when Philip Seymour Hoffman overdosed, they broke her door down because she lived in the same apartment building as the dealer.
Right.
And they found a little bit of drugs in her apartment. This is all documented. Cocaine. All right. Maybe a little bit of paraphernalia for other things. All documented online. Won't say her name. I feel really bad for her. No crack pipes. We're from a suburban New Jersey area.
So you only snort lines.
Sure. And OxyContin. No. So the media, she's on like the cover of the New York Post, and she was.
I remember this.
And
didn't they party with him too?
No, they never partied with him. They just maybe her boyfriend at the time knew the dealer who did sell him the drugs, but basically like the trial by media, like she's still like I can't imagine she can walk down the street in our town and people don't think, because like the media labeled her a heroin dealer, even in our nice little community. Yep. That's her. I've known her since kindergarten. And it was such a tragic story. I mean, for the rest of her life, every employer is going to Google her name and see the words heroin dealer when she never dealt heroin to anyone. And the only reason that this case mattered at all was because it was a fucking Oscar winner.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not pretend that there's not much to complain about with the system. And it does happen to well-to-do white people too.
Yeah, but that's white people problems. I mean,
absolutely. And I'm not saying that's not, that wasn't me saying like,
and I agree 100%. The fucking fact that you're busted for anything, your picture goes up in the paper, even people in your family consider you to be guilty from the word go. It's a terrible thing to get caught up in the system, period. It's fucking awful. And you want to do everything you can not to be in the system.
Right. And guilty by media. You're guilty already. To be accused is to be guilty.
Right. So what do you want? A media that can't put this kind of stuff in the paper?
Perhaps maybe not use names or photos. Like, there's got to be some sort of ethical rules about that.
But think of how many people that are saved because of that. How many times has something come up? Oh, we had this person in the neighborhood. Nobody said anything. Look how much.
I recall the Dallas shooting when they posted a picture of that guy with like the machine gun on his back, and they said, "This is the guy," and then a bunch of people were like, "No, I know this guy." Right,
but he was walking. I'm
not defending that guy for walking around with that at a police protest.
But that's the thing. You're at a fucking police protest for Black Lives Matter. Yeah. You do a fucking special. Hey, I'm going to show that I have a right to fucking walk down the street with this. That shit's going to fucking come up. Your thing came back to this. You and some chick that you like to get fucking high with.
Her.
Yeah. And why is she going to change her fucking hair every time I turn around?
She wore a lot of wigs to court, apparently.
Is that right?
Yeah. She's a wig girl.
Well, we could go on and on like this. We got fucking packed calls that, no offense, Dan, are much more interesting and, prevalent than your thing.
I have Hoffman stories.
But,
I got a million Hoffman stories, guys.
But, I used to have these discussions with Fez. Every time something would happen, something would fall on us, whatever, we need a law. We need a law. So you try to have this blanket law, And it's the reason why, if somebody gets accused of assaulting their wife, that dude doesn't get to see their kids and all kinds of shit. These things are always done to protect society. And 100% of the times when you have something new that's supposed to benefit, also other people suffer because of it. The things that you guys are talking about, if we did, there would be more victims of violent crime. People would die or get raped.
There would be more victims of violent crime if innocent people who didn't know to...
Innocent people are only part of that net.
Right.
You would also be letting out a lot of violent people. If you said a cop can't sit and get information from people that he believes are violent, we're going to get other victims.
Yeah,
we will.
But we can't be led to believe that the cop is the judge and jury there.
Nobody is. I'm just telling you, if you stop cops from leaning on some of these guys, who, by the way, a lot of them are fucking half-wits, and a lot of them would sell out their own fucking mom, By doing this thing that you're doing that's going to benefit some innocent people, you're also going to be hurting innocent people. That's my only fucking point to that. I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but every time you try to improve things, you also make things worse for other people. And there's plenty of people sitting around saying, my mother was fucking hit in the head with a fucking hammer, and 2 years later, this guy's working at the Winn-Dixie. How is that fair? She whistles every time that she tries to drink milk. None of it's fucking fair is what I'm pointing out to you guys. I don't think it's as cynical as you guys think, though.
I don't think he and I are saying the same
No, and
thing.
also it's been the most bipartisan issue. You had Cory Booker and Rand Paul about a year ago, and obviously, nothing fucking happened because everyone hates Obama, but, it was one of the only issues Democrats and Republicans in Congress actually were like, we can work together on this because we all agree, actually.
On what?
Criminal justice reform.
Yeah. And again, what they don't agree on is what kind of reform has to take place. We all agree that it needs to be faster, more efficient. Everybody agrees on that.
And I don't believe anyone in power is seriously going to end private prisons. Are going to do no one's going to take on those interests.
Well, there's, those are the same people that end up putting money into it. But there's plenty of people who will make the case that private prisons are more efficient than government-run prisons. Look how long we've gone without a break. I wish I could let all these either victims of crimes or people who got fucked over by the system. I wish we could let everybody talk, but we run out of time here. Right back, Bennington Show. Telegram just came in from President Obama and Donald Trump together. It's the first time they've ever sent out a telegram that said, "Thank you for the conversation on the air today. Stop. We are completely turning around the criminal justice system. Stop. Disco Dan is going to have his taxes looked into. Stop.
Great. I think I wanted all those things accomplished.
Oh, also, notice Chris Stanley didn't open up his mouth once. Stop.
Well, they noticed that, huh?
You're paranoid about that kind of stuff, to join in that kind of conversation?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just above your head.
Oh!
I'm sorry. I fucking seen the fucking... What the fuck?
Why'd you get for real mad? That's the best shit.
I know.
Like, it takes one little poke to get him, like, actually mad.
Yeah, it does.
It's under the surface.
Fuck you then, Gail. Fuck you. What?
I was just like, shots fired, y'all. I like to be that guy who just yells shots fired.
Love you, just kidding.
Did you watch Vice Principals this week?
I did not see it. I'm caught up until, this past episode.
I'm going to tell you, it might be my favorite. What's the name of the guy who's the other principal in real life?
Walter Goggins. Walter Goggins.
Is that his name in real life?
Yeah.
Walton Goggins.
What is it, Vito?
Walton Goggins.
How come I can't hear Vito that good?
You got to turn up his level there.
Now talk, Vito.
Walton Goggins.
Walton. He said Walter Goggles, I think.
Yeah.
Goggins. I said Goggins.
Just relax. But you running the board doesn't mean just leaning back and looking at the board. You have to pay attention to the level. You have to have the headphones on so you can do it.
They're on.
The reason why I don't do that, I don't want to be thinking about levels all day. I want to be thinking about jokes.
All that up and down? No thanks.
I don't want to sit there and go like this. Can that caller be heard? It just drives me nuts. But that isn't just the seat.
I understand.
Do you? Because I should be able to hear the producer in the other room. I just heard this from him. That fucking dude is insane and great and could be this generation's Christopher Walken. He's that fucking madcap.
I never thought anybody would be able to steal scenes from Danny McBride. And
why is it a competition? Danny's writing for the dude.
But I mean, I never thought I'd watch
fucking given.
He wants him to kill.
Okay, it's the show.
I just never thought I'd watch a show and think I liked a character better than like that.
Why do we have to compete? Do you have to be going like this? Oh, I don't think I'd ever have anyone who like me that I'd like more than Vito, but it's Chris. That wouldn't make you feel like you were part of a team, would it?
That really hurt my feelings, even metaphorically.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Good.
You should be happy that he brought a character on and not have Danny McBride go, next time I'm going to make it all about me, not Goggins.
It's a comedy duo.
Well, they're doing great.
It's the Vice Principal show, not Vice Principal, just one guy. Let's fucking... I forgot there was another weird thing. I won't even get to it. But I know I heard some bizarre show business news, and I have no idea what they're... And I just remember, like, I can't wait to bring this up on the air. This is going to fucking crush.
I wish I knew what it was.
I don't know. I had it in my mind, and then during the legal talk, when Chris was hiding under a fucking blanket in the corner...
Please don't call on me.
He looked like he was under a kiddie pool. You know, like it was the fucking show Cops.
I'm not going down for this one.
Oh, there's a helicopter in the air.
No, it wasn't. I am, Kate got canceled. I don't give a shit about that.
Oh, yeah. It was canceled.
By the way, our friend Andrea sent a picture of herself wearing one of those stupid watches. She got it as a gift.
Embrace it.
By the way, look how big and dumb it looks on her nice wrist. She wasn't there last night, right?
No, she wasn't.
She was not.
Just her final fuck you to Ronnie B, I guess. Or am I taking that too hard?
Yeah, I mean, you might be taking it more personal.
Tom, what's up, buddy?
Hey, boy, you guys are low on the phone. I can hardly hear you. But I just wanted to say how much you're talking about Walter, how much I love his performance in Hateful Eight.
He was amazing. He made me... I never thought somebody could make me hate Tarantino, but he did. See what I'm doing, Vito? Now, can you hear us okay now? It's just...
now I can, yes.
When you're on hold.
Whatever you... Right, now, yeah, it was... But even when you came on and you said, here's Tom, I barely could hear you. And then, the next time you spoke, I could hear you okay.
All right, thank you so much, Tom. Chris, is that something we can fix from here, or do we got to go to engineering for it?
I believe we have to go to engineering.
Or is this another one of your levels jokes?
Who did Opie show today?
Oh, actually, in the morning it was Jimmy and Sam in the morning today.
Those two are getting thicker than thieves.
Besties.
Yeah. They're the new vice principals.
Vito, you have to pick.
I never thought there would be somebody who'd make me hate Sam's guts, but Jimmy's done that. Sam's getting very comfortable in that morning show seat. Very comfortable.
He slips right in.
Like a thief in the night. All right, it is the Bennington Show. By the way, we're going to play the Comedy 101, which we drug out and made. You haven't even listened to it, right?
Not yet, no.
The fact that we decided to do it 40 minutes longer than normal, I don't know how it's going to play to the virgin ear, but it was just so much fun.
It was a blast. And that's how it feels. Like, it's such a fun show to be a part of. That there was a time that I was up there and I'm like, man, I wonder how this is going to be when people listen to it, because everyone in this room is having a fucking blast. Like, it was so much fun being there.
Well, let me tell you something that was fun. So it was hot as hell, and the green room was being used, blah, blah, blah. So we were in this thing. So Liz, who does an unbelievable job running the underground down there.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She goes, step in here and get cool. I go in, and the room from the Black Pussycat, I think it's every Tuesday night, Colin Quinn uses it. He's working on material. So it's this very funky fucking room that's really ridiculous. Like it looks like a room that should be in a movie. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like a comedy club. It looks like a place vampires would hang out or something. So Colin is doing a set, and I'm sitting in the back corner watching it. And later I was able to grab you and bring you in. He is so fucking brilliant. He was saying the most ridiculously funny things, down to the fact that I forgot that we were doing a show in 10 minutes. I was just the mindset that I'm like, hey, how lucky am I? Fucking Colin Quinn, and I get to see him in this crazy little room. Man, I really lucked out tonight. And then after a while, I'm like, oh, God, I'd like to do something like that someday. And I'm like, holy shit, we've got our own show in a couple minutes. I'd completely forgotten about it.
He is so damn funny. He's fucking hilarious.
I think he's already shot New York Stories that's coming out. So here he is working on his next hour special. And like, you have that thing where you get to see him like look at the at his notebook, and he's like, lions in the zoo. And he just starts to, you can see that he doesn't have, and it's just like so fucking funny. And I feel like giving away 8 jokes because they had struck me so hard. One of them was like, you don't seem like the kind of guy who would, you know what I mean? Like how offensive that he put that, what do you mean I don't seem like a guy who does think other humans? It was so fucking funny. So I highly recommend this. The Cellar, I think he's doing it every Tuesday throughout the rest of the summer.
For the Village Underground, yeah.
Well, it's not in the Village Underground. It's in that Black Pussycat room.
Black Pussycat.
Yeah. But I think you got to go through the Cellar anyway, no matter what you're doing. Yes, Comedy Cellar. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to fucking do that to me? No. You're driving me crazy.
You're just a person.
I just want a man to fucking talk to, Chris.
ComedyCellar.com.
Why, though? Why?
So weird.
Why just not be a guy?
Oh, my God.
Fucking whispering in my ear like Tony Hale.
Rod. Plug the website so you can take my call.
Well, we're doing that other show, too, with Robert Kelly, which, by the way, I tried to put together a promo with him, and it went so bad that we might play it. But talk about a fucking guy who can just start to get you laughing and then push you down the hill with it.
Yeah. I mean, with arms windmilling as you go.
I was told something on the street last night, and I wonder if I should tell it now or when we play these. I feel like I should tell you guys now. So I'm going to see if you can remember this, but he tells us the story about when he was kind of a glorified extra day player on Ghost Town. So Kelly says, there was a guy none of us wanted to hang out with because he was the naked ghost.
Yeah.
And once we get together, he goes, I wanted to be friends with Ricky Gervais. And all he was interested in was Naked Ghost, and Naked Ghost was making him laugh, and I got so jealous, blah, blah, blah. So he tells us that story, and it's fucking a scream, right? So I'm standing out on the street last night, having a very sophisticated small cigar. One of the people, and God help me, it might have been Haas, but could have been anybody. I'm just, I just was punch drunk for doing that show. So they came up and said, do you know who Naked Ghost was that Ricky Gervais just wanted to hang out with all the time and that made Ricky Gervais laugh so much? I go, no, I don't even remember it from the movie. And I was told it was Stephen Merchant, his best friend and comedy partner. And this is another reason why Robert Kelly might be the funniest person on the earth, because Robert Kelly is so funny when he means to be, and he's also hilarious when he doesn't mean to be.
Fucking perfect.
And he just thought he was just some weird extra. He was a weird British guy with a weird body.
He should have been sitting.
They were acting like they were best friends. Well, that's because they are.
If you want to hook up with someone in comedy, Stephen Merchant would be the way to go. He's a genius.
Oh my God.
Dude, when I was fucking told that, I could have fallen over in the street. I got to go back and watch that now. But anyway, that show we're doing with Robert Kelly, and it's actually a brilliant idea. It's Creeps with Kids, and if you heard him in here yesterday, you heard an hour I guarantee you will hear him best of, because we all laughed like schoolgirls.
Yeah.
With him.
Like, it was an hour of just like, he was so funny. I actually felt between Robert Kelly yesterday and then going into Comedy 101, I felt like I had some sort of like laughter hangover.
I know.
Like I felt like depleted.
That can happen to you. That can happen to you, that you enjoy life so much that you get a receipt of life depression.
And then you're just like, well, this isn't as fun as it was earlier. And actually, life is terrible. It's actually a really dark place.
The only time life is good is when it's at a very big high. So here's all the people involved. Jim Florentine, Bonnie McFarlane, Louis J. Gomez. And the reason why Robert Kelly picked this crew to do the first one is he's thinking, like, here are these people and friends of his that he knows that seem like social outcasts. I mean, Florentine has a very famous single life for most of his life. Bonnie also was, marrying rich and then having a happy marriage and a baby. Surprised everybody. And Louis J. Gomez, who understands where that's coming from. But he apparently, if you're to believe this Periscope, loves his kid. So this show, all those guys are going to do some stand-up, and then we're going to sit down and do panel. He wants Gail you're going to help
I'm going to be
me. You and I are going to partner up, whether our reflections off it, because, Louis J. Gomez's kid can't speak for himself. I mean, he's a child. He's going to think life is
Maybe
great.
I'll interview him beforehand just to get his take.
Then Louis will end up losing him. If we ever get any facts at all.
Well, I'm actually going to go ahead and take you, okay? You're going to come with me.
So this isn't our production. We're basically, we're going to be under Robert Kelly, which is exciting for me because this doesn't mean I have to care whether the entire show works. That's fun when there's an outside producer. You know what I mean? The pressure is just totally
Then
off.
something happens bad. You're like, ooh, God, I feel bad for them.
I look at Christine.
Anyway.
You're like, man, rough night, huh? In the meantime, I'm going to need a little more Coca-Cola. I demand a couple things.
And then you go home and sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
You're like, fun.
I was talking to some, I got there last night when the line was going on, and it was so fucking hot. And some of the people from the line are saying hi to me. And there was all these movie trailers lined up. And I go, okay, I got to go to my trailer now. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. I go, really? You think that I would fucking rent a trailer and put it on the street? You really? I'm going to go sit in my trailer. We've rented it on the streets of fucking New York. No idea what it costs to close down these streets. You find out why movies cost $700 million to make. But also something we have, I thought we'd, you know what? This is Vito's baby. Vito, I gave him a coat from the Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll people, and you got the entire cast to sign it, right?
Almost. All of it.
Who didn't sign it?
Dennis Leary did not sign it.
Why am I bragging about it? I was going to give away the coat. Why wouldn't he sign it?
He was dragged out of the building before I could ask him to sign it.
Okay. Anyway, we're just going to give out the coat. Probably the 9th caller. It is the Bennington show on a... all right, now I'm getting other stuff, and I'm glad I brought this up. I can't make out this damn. I'm going to say Shit Can is your name?
No, it's Suzanne.
Oh, okay. We had it up here as Shit Can. Yes, what can I do for you?
No, it wasn't Stephen Merchant. Sorry to burst your bubble. It was a guy named Jeff Hiller.
All right, so whoever, and I thought I got that from Haas, but I don't know where it came in from. I'm going to send you into the Pretty Good Prize Closet, my friend. Thank you very much. Pretty good prize.
É prêmio muito bom. É prêmio muito bom, armário. Nós temos bons prêmios. É prêmio muito bom. É prêmio muito bom, armário de prêmios. Nós temos bons prêmios.
Hey, man. So what I'm giving you is a book called Happy Accidents, signed by Jane Lynch.
That's it? That's the way we go out? It just stops cold like that?
I don't remember it stopping cold.
I don't remember it stopping cold either. We're having a disconnect from Vito. I don't know whether it's the band's sound. It even sounds bad to me the way he's talking from the other room. Does it seem distorted to you?
Maybe it is. It does sound a little different.
Just give me a test 1, 2, 3.
Test 1, 2, 3.
That sounds better. Maybe I was a little overmodulated here. So Coach didn't make a show last night. She got sick. Huh?
Yeah, she got sick. We got down to the underground and she texted me. I got home and I started vomiting. I was like, Coach, you stay far away from the Village Underground.
You know what I'm thinking?
What's that?
Spencer Berger is the #1 intern of the summer of 16.
Oh, God,
He's
yes.
never called off.
Never. He's always here, no matter what. He begs to come here when we're not here.
No, tell people I'm not doing the coat now. We're going to do that for the last episode. The last episode is how we give out the coat. Your calls. I know we don't like to look from there. Oh, everybody's on my last fucking nerve today. You know what's going to be nice for me?
What's that?
Go do that show with Robert Kelly and not care how it works out.
You're going to feel sweet relief.
Cool. By the way, we're talking about Jim Florentine, and there's a piece up on the iBang. You can buy Jim Norton and Jim Florentine an early Christmas gift. Some really early stuff, Black Sabbath stuff, is going up for auction. Did they say what any of it is, Chris?
Right now they're just saying just rare Black Sabbath items.
So are we talking guitars? Are we talking...
Okay, all right, there's some handwritten song lyrics. That's going to be part of it.
That would be a great...
That's a cool thing to have.
Especially if it's Ozzy's hand, right?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, they're written by Ozzy. And postcards that Ozzy wrote back to his parents while he was on tour.
I don't know if I'd want that.
Too personal?
Yeah, I just feel like that was meant for someone else. Where the song lyrics I think was meant for the universe. And you know, those Lennon song lyrics, Dylan song lyrics go for a fucking fortune.
Well, we held some of, there was like Beatles lyrics. What was it? Benefit of Mr. Kite?
The benefit of Mr. Kite.
Tonight on Saturday.
And you're like, what? Wait, what? What are these lyrics? We can't work with this. By the way, I almost fucking want to bring up a Colin Quinn thing that he said about rock collectibles. God, I was in fucking tears. What else they have, Chris?
It's mostly letters. That there was
what was it from the box tops? Well, she wrote me a letter. I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna try to get something for Florentine and something for Norton out of this, so we can make this a very metal Christmas.
Yes.
Get it? And Eddie Trunk already has enough stuff. I'm not getting him anything. nothing at all.
He's got it all.
What's the story on the dancing weightlifter, Chris? That's one of your stories.
Okay, so this guy, he didn't win anything, but whenever he actually deadlifted, he started dancing, and then the internet just loves this guy now.
Well, let me say it. I've not seen any of this at all. I got a feeling, because I do this, I won't like it as much as the internet. I feel like I have the exact opposite feeling about things that the internet has.
And he's from a country I've never even heard of called Kiribati.
That's where I'm from.
Really?
Yeah, well, outside of Kiribati. We used to drive an hour into Kiribati.
Here he is dancing off the, I don't even know what you'd call that.
Now, why would they like him better than anyone who scored a touchdown? It's the same shit.
Well, he's happy.
He's a pretty likable guy, that big, strong, likable guy. How is this a sport?
I've never
no dancing for him there?
He'll
He
dance
still
off.
dances. He still dances, even though he's hurt himself. Okay, that's pretty funny.
He's adorable.
That's really
He's a
cute.
funny uncle. He shouldn't have his own family, though. It's very effeminate.
He's very effeminate there.
Very effeminate.
I don't even understand how, I guess it's the deadlift, how that even helps you. Because you're only fucking putting it up for, fucking 2 seconds.
Yeah, to get it up is amazing.
Yeah, why you're acting like this is... I mean, anybody could hold it for 2 seconds.
I've never heard anyone act like that you're not even strong to be able... I mean, I'm always thinking that a spine is going to snap when I watch these.
Yeah, I really don't like...
And you saw even there, his lower back gave out, not his arms. Watch it. See that?
Yeah.
And it was the lower back and
Yeah.
knees that started to go. So to me, it's a very frightening sport. But Chris is the first person I ever heard act like it's nothing.
It's not very good.
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed at all with this.
Why?
What is this? The deadlift? Is that the name of it?
I believe it's a deadlift, yeah.
What do you think that you could deadlift?
Oh, God, I don't know. Maybe 100 pounds.
Yeah, nowhere near your own weight.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you take this guy who could do something 8-9 times more than you?
I feel like you should be able to put it up multiple times. That would be the impressive thing.
But you just admitted yourself you could never do this.
No, I couldn't do it. No.
So if someone lifted a car but then they didn't kind of turn it on its side or something, you wouldn't be impressed.
You're a Monday morning deadlifter.
It's a really fucking getthat.com. You can own that. But we just sit around and mock out deadlift.
I would have done that totally different.
Is that it? 1, 2 seconds? Look,
Oh my God, look at the form. Oh my God.
By the way, anything more than 2 seconds, I would be bored shitless watching it.
6 hours later, he's just sweating, trembling.
Still?
That's impressive.
Every time I turn this up.
And Kiribati. Why even send anyone to the Olympics?
What? They just sent a guy to the Olympics who the whole world is taking.
For the dancing, not for his skill at the sport.
But that is part of, whatever it is about the Olympics, it's not about the superpowers. It's about the entire world. Somebody can reach out there and just grab our hearts. Look at that, the way Puerto Ricans all over the world have celebrated these Puerto Ricans. I don't even remember what event they did.
Female tennis, I believe, they won.
Really?
Yeah, singles, too.
That's very shocking because that's...
Why is it going to be female tennis?
Who wants to watch it? Why isn't it on a table? That's where it's really good. Yeah, Chris sometimes has the thing of a 15-year-old boy where it's just like, that sucks. Do you know what I mean? Those kids?
Yeah.
Douchey. Those are the worst human beings on the planet, by the way. Those boys that haven't grown into their fucking height or face yet.
This is Puerto Rico freaking the fuck out. These are Puerto Ricans gathered all around the world.
In one room?
In multiple rooms. And this is her winning the gold.
That's great.
Holy shit!
That's actually more enthusiasm than all our gold gets. All right, stop it for a second. None of us even look at the size of that room, but that just goes to show you that Puerto Ricans love Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, big fans.
They are total fans of Puerto Ricans.
But I love when that happens, where it's a country who's won very few medals or maybe no medals at all, and they just go crazy. Like, they just go nuts for this one event because they're like, we know we're going to crush it. We might
just showed the world. We
Yeah.
just showed the world our little area did it. But I remember when David Steinberg, when they did the documentary on him, and he said, well, Canadians like Canadians. And I always thought that was the funniest fucking line, because they all sit down and watch a documentary about a Canadian. This is interesting. I'm from this giant mass of land, too.
Something I like about that guy.
Yeah.
It could be the whole Canada connection. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong here. There's plenty of Americans I like, but shows about Canada are interesting to me. But I get the same way. If someone is born anywhere near where I was born, I'm like, I hope that fucking guy wins. You know? I hope that fucking guy wins.
Like
Why? Why does that happen?
People, regular Joe like me from this place. I don't know. It's very common. I think it's like we have this inherent disposition to just want to be a part of something. Like, you seek out family, but not just family, like that tribe mentality.
Yeah.
That you're just like, you're just born into this world and you're just like, just let me identify with something. Is that what I am? Oh, okay. I'm that then. Good.
Good. I have a place in the world.
Do you think that's it? It makes us feel like there's a place for us.
Yeah, I think that it's also why you get people who, they start to, I don't know, get into, what sign they are. They're like looking up their Chinese zodiac or whatever.
College, like, oh, you're an alumni from whatever, Michigan.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, you seek out this ability to identify.
No, I have the fucking Queen wrote the best line. The dancing weightlifter.
Yeah.
She wrote that Chris gets up and dances like that every morning when he finds out that his sleep apnea did not kill him.
Hey, guess what? I only sleep for 15 minutes at a time.
So?
Because your apnea wakes you up.
You ever notice it's not impressive when a weightlifter?
Did you ever notice that weightlifters?
I don't know why I immediately went, what was his name? Andy Rooney?
Andy Rooney, yeah.
You ever notice?
He was Mickey Rooney's brother. No one ever brings that up. They were brothers, yeah. His brother said to him once, let's put on a show. You sit around and make just mean observations about things. John McLaughlin passed away yesterday. I've been watching his show since basically since it was ever on. He did the most annoying, hilarious show that no one could believe, which now is done by everybody. It's the panel show where you go around. Chris, what's going to happen in the United States? Gail, what is going on with free trade and veto? Try to fix your modulations. We'll be back. Bye-bye.
Discuss. It was always yelling to discuss.
Yeah, discuss it. Eleanor. It was always Eleanor has been there since the beginning, and Pat Buchanan.
Well, he's one of those dudes who, that show's been on my whole life.
36 years it's been on. No one else did a political panel show. So everything that you see on cable news is based on that show. In the same way that the sports reporters, you wouldn't have had, they were the original panel sports show. There were four guys taking sports way too seriously, and everybody's to go, you watch a sports reporter, and they're like, I don't know. They get a little too inside. And now everything is, too inside. You would not have any of the shows on CNN or without McLaughlin. But he was around so long that they used to do a parody of his show in like the 80s.
Yeah.
SNL used to parody this like 30 years ago. So it's amazing. But I've been watching him he went right up to the last minute.
I know, yeah.
And he hasn't been able to sit up, and his voice isn't like this. And I'm like, watching, I'm like, man, I don't know how much longer we're going to have John McLaughlin. And, but I love the fact that he basically went up to the last minute. Like, even though he missed his first show in 36 years and died.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And they got to keep the show going and still call it the McLaughlin Group. If you start and try to call it the Pat Buchanan Group, I will be out. I want that as the McLaughlin Group. And if Pat wants to host it, I'm all for it. There. I've given my far right wing ideas.
Yeah, he was one of those guys. He's been elderly my entire life.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not even like I look at him and I'm like, man, he looks terrible. He's really getting up there in the years. I always thought that about him. I was like, that was a very elderly person. I have a very, very early memory of, for some reason, we had put the show on.
Bum, 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 bum.
And it was the first time in my memory, in my conscious memory of ever seeing it. And I remember I was standing like really close to the TV. And I remember you and I were just watching it, and then I turned to you and I was like, this show is hilarious. But it was like, political topics that obviously were over my head. And you're like, you laughed and you're like, what do you find funny about it? And I was just like, that guy. But like, I knew it was like there was something funny and meant for parody, but like I couldn't really form it. I was just like, I'm aware that guy's funny and he's being different. You know what I mean? Like there was something about him.
It would, on a scale of 0 for 10, 0 meaning nothing at all, and 10 meaning the end of the world. Chris Stanley, what number do you give it?
7.
7!
Well, I would give it you would always just like cut that person off.
Yeah. And then he'd be like, that's wrong. It's a 2. Shit. On to the next one. And he was really that. I think he used to write. Was a speechwriter for President Clinton, but it was always like that wacky thing, and then the entire world caught up to it, and kind of bypassed it because who sits around and waits for a Sunday show when that show's on a million times this week? Now, this is very interesting and exciting news for us here at Sirius XM. Stephen Bannon, who does a show on Breitbart Radio, and he's one of the co-founders of Breitbart. It was Andrew Breitbart, and I believe him. Maybe he put up the money, or some of the, because Breitbart was this kind of a lone wolf guy. So somebody, it's a fascinating story of how that thing blew up the way that it did, but he does mornings here, and he just took a gig basically pushing Paul Manafort to the side. They're saying they're expanding it, but Trump did this so Trump could be more of a Breitbart type Trump, which means Trump could be himself again.
Yeah.
Trump hates to give the speeches. I don't like to see him give those canned speeches. They're trying to have Trump pivot to the center. He's not happy for it. I think it's a total way for Trump to lose. He's a long shot. He's the outside guy. The long shot's got to do his thing to come in. But this is going to get fucking hairy over the next couple of months. It's going to get fucking crazy. But I think that the biggest mistake Trump made, and Ann Coulter brought this up before he did it, was bringing Pence in, trying to say, oh, by the way, I have a level-headed, good conservative guy here. You're fucking flying the pirate ship, you know what I mean? You gotta
make the whole crew look like it matches.
Yeah, you gotta pirate the whole goddamn thing up.
And, I think that it kind of contradicted his statement where he was like, I'm going to find the best people. And he didn't even seem to find the best person for himself.
Somebody made him cave in a little bit there. And I think he's pissed about it to this day. Thomas, Niagara Falls.
Wrong! Yes, actually, it's right. Dana Carvey used to do the best impression of John McLaughlin on Saturday Night Live.
Well, he did the only impression of it.
That's correct. That's true.
It was so
funny. He did it in 87, and it was really funny. He did that for an audience who really didn't watch the John McLaughlin show, but it still worked comedically.
Ritual. Yeah, it was like the Sunday morning ritual. You watch CBS this morning or Sunday morning, and then John McLaughlin would follow that.
Well, it would always follow either Meet the Press or, which one of those ones that you wanted to go to. But yeah, he's been there forever. And again, whether you were a fan of his pioneer or his way of his politics or his way of pioneering this new way of doing journalism, a lot of people thought it was, clickbait and shitty, but, you got to give him all the credit in the world. He invented something of his own. Chris is the first person to come up with putting a pen in his ear.
Thank you. Innovator. That's what they call me. We also need to break one more time for the end of the show.
I don't have shit.
Shit. Really do need, though, just to break one.
I'm going to see if Pitback actually is Pit Doc. That's
my guess. And I'm normally not a betting man, but I'm going to guess it is.
Pitback?
You are correct.
Yay! Pitback!
Bring the pit back! Bring the pit back!
Actually, I'm visiting Ohio and family right now, but I just wanted to bring this little information to you. You like The Night Out with John Turturro, correct?
Yes, you are correct, sir.
He is filming a movie in New York right now with Bobby Carnival. But what's important is the character he plays right now. The character's name is Jesus Quintana. Does that ring a bell?
None off the top of my head.
Okay, let me just give you this quote then. Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
Oh shit. My gosh. Really?
Unfortunately, the Coens aren't involved, but the movie's called Going Places, and I'll send something to the iBang about it right now. But apparently, him and Bobby Carnival, it's a remake of a French comedy, but he plays a burglar or something like that.
But he's
it's going to be the same character.
So he's playing the Jesus. It's going to be the exact same character.
He's playing the Jesus.
Nobody fucks with the Jesus, man. I'll take that fucking piece off you, stick it up your ass, put the trigger to a clicks.
Then it goes boom.
Get, man.
Base.
Take it easy.
Chris wants us to break. Bennington Show. Kurt Metzger was part of our mentors last night, and Kurt is a uniquely funny guy who I mistakenly said won an Emmy. He did win a Peabody Award, but I thought because I saw him on stage and then later saw a thing of him on Twitter holding the Emmy that it was indeed his Emmy. It was not. I want to read you something that came out today. Kurt brought up something last night, which, by the way, I hadn't heard of, I believe, until he blamed it on, said it on stage. But this is something that Amy Schumer tweeted out. I am saddened and disappointed in Kurt Metzger. He is my friend and a great writer, but I couldn't be more against his recent actions. And I'm sure that those actions are Kurt taking place in Comedy 101 is being seen as an awful thing. No, I don't know whether you know this. And it was explained to me a little bit after the show, although I did write an on-the-fly joke about it. But there is some blackballing going on in New York City about a certain comedian. I'm not going to say his name because I don't even know it. I saw it since then, but I'm not aware of who he is. He's never been here. So apparently this is one of those people being accused of, I don't want to even use the word rape because I don't know if that was used, but sexually assaulting, something along those lines. Again, I have no information on this at all, but he's been banned from a couple of clubs, even including clubs that we are friends with. So I think what Kurt did was come to the defense of against mob mentality.
Right.
And I don't know that if he's done anything more than say it on social media. I don't think he's attempted to defend the guy in any way, but he's taken a ton of heat for it, including his employer, Amy Schumer.
Yeah, I think why it got so picked up is that, he speaks in such a like colorful, excited, like passionate way that he can't. He would never take an approach on his opinion by going, well, like maybe it should be like this. But I think his angle, if you just pare back all the, everything that he had said about it, is that he's saying, why go to the employer? Why not go to the police, or why not make a charge? It's not dissimilar to what we were talking before, is like calling something guilty before we've hit this point of actually taking a good look at it. Now, the way he had described it, was like, why would we just believe because, a group of women get together and they say somebody is a rapist? Is that enough? So he had said it in this very passionate way, but if you pare back and see what he says, if you have been victimized by someone, is your best course of action just to talk about it instead of making it an official statement? Well, it doesn't really, the rumors never save anyone else. Right. It's only stopping their employment. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I think he's also coming out and say, hey, it's not for us to play judge and jury in this. This should be going to the courts, not into social media or the comedy community. But I also have, Kurt also, it's this whole fucking thing. So you got a guy, he's accused of rape. He's banned from UCB, banned from other clubs. Multiple, women have said this, allegedly, but only online or in the streets. Kurt basically is saying this: you can't and shouldn't end someone's career on hearsay. And it's very funny to me that Kurt is the person being pointed out as if he did something wrong.
Right.
Right. A conversation starts online, much like the conversation you and I were having today. There's probably right and wrong on both sides throughout the whole thing. It's a complicated event.
But it is very dangerous when you silence the idea of debate. When you say, oh, he's come up with a point. And I think it's also totally fair. I see things that he said and I get where he's going with it totally. Right. I also think it's fair for people to disagree with that. It's very scary when you're like, this guy should have never spoken up. He should never say these things. Isn't it better when we all say the things that we're thinking and then we're able to debate them? Only in those times can you kind of bring truth out or discover new things. It's a very scary thing to say, this person said this shit on social media. Everyone go get him. Let's make sure he never says something like this again. Or no one ever says something like this again.
It's literally why I'm not on social media. Because I don't fucking need everything I said to be suddenly acting like, well, look, I can totally understand where Kurt's coming from, and I see that as no way of saying I'm for violence against women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody, any thinking person would be against violence against women. But also just what you were defending today, because someone fits a certain profile, you don't want to see them dragged in. Mob mentality.
Exactly.
I know nothing about this guy or his actions. I don't believe that Metzger does.
Yeah. And this is something, it's come up quite a few times in the comedy community, and there's probably a lot of reason for that. I think that we're getting to a place where hopefully we're moving towards an era where crimes against women, things that happen like this in the workplace, are talked about and are taken care of. And I think that it's happening a lot. We're hearing about it more in the comedy community, particularly it's a job that involves nightlife and there's a lot of stuff there, sometimes travel. And I think that it is also important to say, yeah, but it's not just about making sure that guy never works again. It's like if you feel so strongly about what has happened to you, isn't really what your angle should be. Is I hope that this person never hurts someone else again, if that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's, again, it's one of those things. It's much more complicated on every level.
Yeah.
Is there a culture where women don't speak up? Absolutely. Is there a culture where, a lot of young boys were not taught that no means no or what variation of it? All that stuff is true. But leading to, hey, Kurt opened up his pie hole and he should be, he should shut up. I don't get that. If it's social media, why does he got to shut up? Even if you think he looks like an abuser himself, and he does. So that's what he brought up last night. And I don't remember the context. I remember a joke that I tagged it with. But fucking social media to me, just everything makes something more annoying. You know what social media is good for? This pole vaulting story where the guy ran the pole vault into his own penis. That I love.
That's where it's at its best.
How could this happen? How could this have gone into his penis? Why is something horrible happening to a man's penis bring such joy to not just women but also men? Oh,
it's like a laugh and just pain, like both. It's
I can throw up. It's up on the iBang. You'll see this. I think it's safe for work. I would actually go that far.
Yeah, I think it's safe. Don't worry, you don't see the pain.
No, he did lose because of his dick.
It tore that
the
goddamn
dick
pole down.
disqualifies you. Because even if an appendage touches.
Is that right?
Even your most private of appendages.
No, if you get your penis across the goal line, is it a touchdown? That's the only thing that gets across.
I think
you
it
have
does.
full control of the ball.
You break the plane. With the penis, you break the plane.
Just look at pain on this dude's face right before the last frame.
It's such terrible luck because it's like a millimeter on either side. He would have just missed it, or he would have hit his thigh or something. But instead, he's hitting it at perfect place, pole to penis.
Yeah. All right, Bunny Kick Butt said this about Kurt. He argues his point like an asshole. I think that's a fine critique. Liz says, I agree with Kurt, but he's in the business epicenter of the PC/mob mentality blackballing. Sometimes just keep your mouth shut. It's also not the comedian's job to keep his mouth shut. I get it, but I get, the fact that, well, we saw it last night. He starts to talk and you're like, this is going nowhere. And then it ends up being hilarious. But there was a couple of times I'm like, where's he going with this? What is he up to? Justin.
Yo.
What's up?
Yo, guys?
Yeah.
Yo, man, how's it been?
Good.
Yeah, dude, I wanted to thank you guys for that shout out when you guys first got back, man. That was really cool.
Oh, this is Justin! Yeah.
Shit. We didn't know this was you, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, I've been doing good. I've just been busy as shit trying to move to Toronto and all that.
What are you doing? Yeah, what are you going to be doing in Toronto?
I'm going to be going to school and trying out the open mic scene there. Got a lot more English open mics, so it'll be better for me.
Because Montreal is filled with French open mic?
Yeah, pretty much. There's only like a handful of English ones, but yeah.
Boy, I was looking at the lineup for the Toronto Comedy Festival, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get some tickets for that. That'd be really, really fucking cool. Yeah, I wanted to say, man, yeah, sorry for your loss, man. That was really, it's a lot to go through. I've been going through some similar stuff too, man. It's never easy.
Yeah, it's the human experience. It's what we're going to do. Hey, can you write or do photography?
Yeah.
I could hook you up with the iBang and get you to cover some of the things at the festival.
Dude, that'd be so fucking cool, man.
It's done. It's done.
All right.
Because seconds within meeting him. Everybody's like, man, he seems like one of us. I'm like, more than Vito's ever been one of us.
Oh, God, yes.
Vito introduced us, which is really sad.
I know. You introduced yourself to your replacement.
He's a good enough person where I don't feel too bad about it.
That's the way to roll with it, Vito. When are you going to Toronto?
It'll probably be the end of the month, so
Great.
I'll be able to do that for sure.
Well, Gail has all your information, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. And Vito's last name, I show his card to every French person I know, and they're fucking dying.
We brought this up. Vito, say exactly what happened to you when you went to check in at that party.
So I'm walking into the Funny or Die party, and I get stopped, and somebody grabs me and goes, you got to wait right here. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not getting into this party Chris has been talking about. And then all of a sudden, I just see 3 people walking towards me. And then the guy who stopped me goes, guys, I told you he's fucking real. He's real. And then they come over to me and they're all looking at my name and they're like, dude, your name means fuck here in Montreal. If you lived here in Montreal, you'd be a celebrity just based on your last name.
They were trying to convince him to get into comedy because his name is Vito Fuck.
Yeah. There's no reason we shouldn't just call him Vito Fuck.
Vito Fuck.
I like Vito Fuck.
Yeah, it's pronounced Carlis here, but yeah, it's definitely written that way for sure.
All right, dude, I'm going to have Gail contact you, and we're going to have you cover some of the Toronto Comedy Festival for us, all right?
Yeah, man, it's been good talking to you guys. Good catching up.
Same with you, pal. Take care.
Peace.
Bye, Justin.
Bye, best friend Justin.
What is his people called First Nation?
First Nations, yeah.
That's one of my favorite, it's just like a cool thing to say.
Yeah, we should
First
use
Nations. We should use it for ourselves, like the Bennington.
We're First Nations.
Yeah.
First Nation of Bennington.
First Nations here would just be another bank. Chris, you're actually very quiet today. You tired from last night? You sweated out a lot.
Chrissy,
I got dehydrated almost.
Yeah, well, that isn't almost.
What is the
Why
hand?
is your hand up like
he
that?
does this constantly. When he's uncomfortable with going on, he does these weird T-Rex arms. I don't know why he does it. It's I guess he's trying to be funny, but he's being...
I didn't know. I realized it just came up like that.
Like if I say, stand here, take a picture, do something that he's just physically uncomfortable, he immediately goes T-Rex arms, and I don't know why he does it.
It's fun.
By the way, the short tweets that you guys did last night were hilarious. I was watching them going down.
The snaps of the...
Yeah, snaps. That's what they are. It's not short tweets. That's a fucking crazy thing. By the way, my Instagram account is killing. I just put up pictures of food that I'm eating. Cars that I like, I'll just what the fuck is this Corvette doing here? And then I'll put hashtag wish it was mine. And it's almost made me forget about Pinterest, you know?
I know, because he was so early on Pinterest, you know?
I like to drag and click things that I like.
Great page.
Yeah, one of them was just chocolates. Just different kind of chocolates. That's really right.
Yummy.
Then the other women in my family can look at it and know what I'm into right now.
Yum. That looks great.
Chocolate favors.
Jesus.
Chris, the guy from Dune, somebody asked him what Dune was about. It was Kyle MacLachlan, I think is his name. So he just put up all these emojis, and I'm watching CNN, and they're like this. This is the CNN. Oh, no, it was HLN this morning. And these anchors are like this. This is the most epic tweet anyone ever has done. Ugh. All these emojis explain Dune. Shut up. That's epic.
Go to hell.
He was also in Sex and the City, and then he's a real. And I'm like, why is this? This isn't like I'm on an elevator and I'm hearing fucking dumb people talking. This is people that have a news show.
What's happening?
And they called something that was nothing but emojis. Epic tweet ever about Dune. And I swear to God, I don't want this fucking modern world, Chris. I'm gonna look. There it is. Is that epic to you?
No, I mean, some of it makes sense. I mean, that's the Mecca thing because they call him Muhaddin.
Oh boy,
there's a sandworm. And the skull. I guess people die in it. This isn't that epic at all. It's gibberish. Makes me feel like he shouldn't have even been Paul Atreides. That really annoys me because Dune's the best. The book and the movie. If that fucking movie's on, I'll watch it.
Just relax. You're in an argument with no one.
Here's the thing.
Everyone here is your
Here's the thing.
friend.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
If he is an expert on the topic and we don't immediately jump in, he has to argue with himself that it's good. Like, he has to hear us go, Dune actually sucks. And then he's like, Dune is great.
But I've known him for 8 years. I haven't attempted to read the book or watch the movie in 8 years. Because I understand it's really inside. There are people who love it. But you know that I don't like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that.
Like universally trash is one of the worst films ever made.
But the book is beloved, right?
The book is beloved is like one of the greatest, if not the greatest, science fiction novel.
I would. Okay.
I'm just telling you.
No one. First of all, it was a flop. No one called it the greatest science fiction film that ever.
I mean, book.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you think I would watch the book? Watch the movie just because Sting's in it. Even if it was bad, I would watch it.
Crazy.
I've never seen it.
Anytime I see a clip, it looks like David Lynch did it. This is the only David Lynch film I haven't watched,
and he wanted his name taken off of it.
It looks like it was shot on video to me as well.
It does. We should all watch together. We should watch Dune together. The tweets.
Well, how did we make that leap?
Because you guys haven't seen it.
Dune party?
Let's have a Dune party.
Cost Dune party?
That's really good.
I like the idea of dressing in costume to something you haven't seen yet. I'm told this is appropriate.
But a costume party is fucking so stupidly hilarious that I might end up doing it.
Yes.
Dooning it?
Stop it. Seriously, now I'm getting fucking annoyed. Now I'm out, guys.
No,
she ruined it. Gail ruined it.
Don't listen to Gail.
Because I was thinking about renting a theater for this. Have you seen it on the big screen?
I've never seen it on the big screen.
I was thinking about renting the IMAX, and then we could all go there, dress in costumes.
Please.
We have,
let's get the costumes.
Just like in the movie, steak and lobster. By the way, did you notice that fucking Johnny Hard Rock didn't even try to call us today after
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. And Johnny Go-Go was there with his lovely wife.
Yes.
And saying, "Oh, I had such a great time." And I'm like, "Really? How's Johnny?" And then they brought another couple to sit in the Johnny seats. I didn't even notice that we went over. All right, I'm going to do this quick thing. This is going to be the Rob Lowe roast. If someone doesn't do Rob Lowe me, they're fucking crazy. See if you like this lineup of funny men. Peyton Manning. Pete Davidson. Bo Derek. Rob Riggle. Jimmy Carr. And Jeffrey Ross. Perfect fucking roast of all time.
Roast Master General's there. I'm in.
I can't wait to see Bo Derek rip him a brand new one.
Fuck him up.
And Peyton Manning has just done that really funny commercial that he's in the robe. Old number 18. That's the old number. Fucking hilarious. All right, that's it for us. We can't let this run over like we did with that show last night by 40 minutes.
Nearly doubled it.
Watch out for a sneak peek this Friday morning.
A little sneaky peeky.
Anything you need to plug, Gail?
I think we've covered it.
Chris?
Sam Kinison Life and Comedy is available on demand.
Oh, great.
You really try to show me up there, huh?
Yeah. Vito?
No, nothing.
So you should have done two things. Say 0, 1, 2. That would have been the joke.
I have...
Too late. You can't do it now. You can't do it now. Hey, Vito. We'll see you again. In 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!